Welcome to Bleach Hakusho, baby.
Yes, we're finally doing Bleach.
Welcome to Bleach is Unbreakable.
Yes. Well, this is Bleach is
Like,
Unbreakable, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, kinda. Welcome to Yu Yu Hakusho.
That's true.
Yeah,
We started Yu Yu Hakusho. It's pretty cool.
you can really tell that this was a manga made in 1991 in a lot of ways.
Oh, yes. Yes, you can. Oh my God. That was
Oh boy.
that was Journey.
Oh boy. What did you think of it? How are you digging it so far?
I like it. It's cool. It's just very dated.
Yeah, it's a little dated in
No,
certain.
I liked it though. It was
Yeah,
entertaining.
I think you'd enjoy it more with the anime, and I think you'll enjoy it more now that we're getting into longer arcs,
Eh,
arcs that more people will
well,
like.
the
What's that?
thing is, I actually liked like the early parts like a lot more than like the later parts in the section that we read. Like I
Oh
liked
yeah,
the parts where Yusuke was like, a ghost or whatever, rather than like the more shonen-y parts where he was just fighting people.
yeah. I enjoyed those too. Those were a surprise. Those were a nice surprise for me. I didn't expect
Yeah.
much, but those were nice. I
It was
think
a different kind of story, really.
yeah, I like that in a lot of series when the early stuff is very
Very down
different
to
from what it
earth.
yeah, down to earth and just overall very different
Mm-hmm.
to what it would become. So, Bleach is like that, Hunter x Hunter to a degree, JoJo's, like just starting off in a very different avenue. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely. But yes, so the section that we read, which it was the Spirit Detectives arc, like
Yes.
just generally,
Yeah,
chapters 1 through 51, and we also read the one shot, two shots.
that's right.
What was it
You
like
and
1 to 20 or something for the anime?
1 to 26, most of
26.
26
Ah, that was it.
for the anime watchers, along with Two Shots was made into an OVA on the special
Yeah,
anniversary Blu-ray a couple years ago.
yeah, 2018, like 20 years later, over
Yeah,
20 years later, it looks
something like that.
completely different from the anime.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it does.
It's great.
It's it's hard to recreate that '90s
Well,
anime
it,
style.
it's kind of got the same style. Like obviously they tried to recreate it, but like just like in terms of like the fluidity of like the animation and like the just the resolution and just
Yeah,
how like clear it looks, I suppose,
especially with
because it's digitally
like
animated.
yeah, but especially with early story, because all you anime watchers out there for Yu Yu Hakusho, which I'm sure is most fans, I doubt there's a large percentage of people that, well, at least in America, that
Hmm.
had the manga first. The anime has really become the main version
Yeah.
for us in the States.
Yeah, people don't really read manga that much over here unless like they like got into manga because of anime. So
Yeah.
whereas in Japan, manga's like a much bigger like entry point into like the
Yeah.
world of anime manga.
Yeah, but especially for this series because it's similar to Dragon Ball. Like it really popped off on Toonami, and that's where most
Yeah.
people will know it from. But all you anime watchers out there will probably note that the animation it changes a lot across the series, and early on it is
Hmm.
a little rough around the edges, a little slow, a little stilted. You know,
Yeah.
it kind of took until the Dark Tournament to really start getting somewhere.
Yeah, I could see that because like at the time it was like a new property, so like they weren't sure how well it would do. And then once it like proves itself in terms of like sales and ratings and stuff, they would devote more resources to it.
Yeah, that and the Dark Tournament is like that's the money maker. They're probably kind of saving resources for that. It's like how Bleach, the anime, kind of compressed and sped through the I was about to say Spirit Detective Saga. What's the other thing? The Soul Agent of the Soul Reapers arc.
Something, the
Just so
substitute Soul Reaper arc or something.
yeah, they kind of ran through that so they can get to Soul Society. Yu Yu Hakusho is similar in that they cut all of these like one-off chapters across the beginning so they can more quickly get to the shonen-y stuff. They were building up the Dark Tournament even from like the start. You can see some designs of that in the first ED. You can see like a little glimpse of Dark Tournament stuff near the end of the opening. But the stuff before it is still pretty fun, and we'll get right into that.
Yeah,
And
let's do that.
We'll starting us off. I wanted to say something pretty general, like right off the bat. Something I noticed is that the manga, just like coming from the anime, as someone who's seen the anime a couple times now, the manga has like a lot of unexpected art style differences. Like the anime plays things fairly safe in terms of characters being on model and realistically proportions. The manga, Yusuke and others like Kuwabara, they often go like the guy get all chibi or get like an exaggerated ugly face, and in more serious moments, like the shading and the style will become grittier. It's interesting. Takashi's art style really kind of runs the gambit between serious and realistic and like weird and ugly.
Definitely.
It's fun. Yusuke makes a lot of fun faces. He does the cat face a lot. Togashi seems fond of that. Yusuke does it. Botan does it.
Yeah.
In Hunter x Hunter, Killua does it a lot. Cute. Togashi's art style in general is pretty cute. I described it to a friend as wonky, but in a charming way. And I think that's pretty apt.
Yeah, that sounds right, to be honest. Yeah, so we start off.
We start off with
Yusuke's dead.
Yeah.
Yep. Just dead like that, right at the start. Like just right away, you could already see like, we haven't really talked about this yet, but like, this series is like a huge inspiration and like to so many other like manga series and anime, like
It's
from
got
later on that we know
yeah,
about.
it's got its claws in like two of the big three. One Piece is more about like the bright and goofy stuff, but both Bleach and Naruto have taken a lot of it.
Yeah,
this series
definitely.
is why the nine-tailed fox that's in Naruto's butthole, that's why his name's Kurama. He was named after this Kurama. And Bleach obviously has a lot to take from Yu Yu Hakusho.
I specifically noticed a lot of Naruto stuff. But the one thing I was just going to talk about here is that we start the story off and Yusuke's just immediately dead. He just gets hit by a car, and that's a pretty common trope, I feel like. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure this is just the start of that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You can really see like a lot of shows have done that. As you said, it's become kind of a trope, but you can really fans of Konosuba would probably get a kick out of seeing this for the first time.
With Konosuba, it's like a legit, like, direct reference.
It's like a parody almost.
Yeah. Well, it's not even a parody, it's just the same thing.
I mean, it's the same thing, but like they really go more into like, oh, the death didn't actually matter. And
they just make it even
blue-haired goddess of death just ribbing into the guy.
Yeah. It's great.
It's fun, yeah. Tell me your first thoughts on Yusuke himself.
Yusuke?
What were you thinking of him after this chapter?
I'm not like a huge fan of like the delinquent type character. generally. Um, I mean, I think Yusuke did a pretty good job of like still being somewhat likable despite that, but I don't
Hmm,
really have any like deep insights here.
that's fair. I do, but that's just because this is like
You've
this is
watched it so
this
many
is
times.
yeah, this is like one of my favorite anime. It's not one I really think about a lot, but like every time I
Well, once you
go
start
back
to
to
think
it,
about it, you realize you have like
oh
underlying
yeah,
thoughts that you haven't really brought to the
absolutely.
surface.
Yeah, every time I go back to it, it's just always such a treat. I think the first chapter and consequently the first episode, I think they do a great job of setting up Yusuke, just painting him as like to at his like he's a punk, yeah, he's a delinquent, but like at his core, he's just someone with shit luck, I'd say. He's bad at like he's always misunderstood and he lashes out because of it. He has no friends beyond Keiko. He's got a shitty home life. His teachers always kind of assume the worst of him, and that's kind of like it's sort of like this cycle. His whole life is kind of shitty and he lashes out, so people start expecting worse from him and treating him worse and he acts out worse. It's like a cycle and it's brought him down to this level, I think. The
Yeah.
anime kind of the manga's worse, or not worse, but like the manga has him acting more of the delinquent. The anime tones it down some.
Well,
There's a
yeah, he's not like smoking in the anime because that's illegal. But
He's not smoking. Yeah, they cut out the bit about shoplifting,
mhm.
etc., etc. But yeah, we get all of that stuff about him, and but then we see him later with the kid who he saves him being run over, and we see that
Yeah,
he still has some generosity and kindness in him for people that don't like immediately shit on him, and it's enough to make him end up giving his life for this kid when he almost gets run over.
yeah.
I think that's
I
true.
like that like he's not always like directly like the cause of like people having a negative opinion of him. Like people dump all of like their misdeeds onto him, onto his name because he's already made a name for himself as like
Yeah,
this delinquent. And
he's
so
an easy target.
yeah, and so everything always, even if it's not like him directly, it always gets pinned on him. And so you kind of
Yeah,
feel bad for him in that way. And like yeah, like you said, it just spirals him into like getting mad and doing even more bad things.
yeah. And it's something that'll I think connects back to what'll be kind of like the main point of his development going forward, but I'll talk more on that bit when we're into the Saint Beasts arc of this whole section. Uh,
Yeah.
so, so, so yeah,
Oh,
Yusuke dies.
I
Oh,
have
sorry, guys.
one
Yeah.
little note from this chapter, and it's that apparently Keiko had shit on her underwear, and I just wanted to bring attention to that.
That's
Yeah. He
I'm
looks
sorry.
he pulls her skirt up and it's like, "Man, you have shit on your underwear."
What?
Yeah, dude, there's a panel where she says, "Wow, what a low-class underwear even has feces on it." This literally happened.
What the fuck are you talking about? Hold on, I gotta.
Chapter okay, it's like page 12 or something like that. Yeah, page
Chapter.
12 of chapter 1 at the top of the page.
Hold on, I got it. What the fuck translation are you reading? That's not what this says. I'm reading the official
Are you
translation.
kidding? I was literally like, "Man, this translation is ass." And you and Austin were like, "Yeah, the official translation's like that."
I
So
thought you were.
apparently I wasn't reading the official
I
translation.
sent you a link to the official translation. Did you?
I'm
Did you
just
not?
on I'm just on manga decks, dude.
I guess you're not reading the official translation then.
No wonder it fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Man, this whole time it's so like the translation is so bad. Like sometimes like there's no characterization for any of the characters. Like they all talk the same way. You have like Yusuke and like Kuwabara are like calling people fellows and stuff. It's just
What?
weird. Yeah.
That's that is weird.
I oh my
I mean,
I this is terrible.
they follow the fucking link I sent. Jeez.
I I don't
Stupid.
even know where the fuck where
It's up. It's up near the top of the Discord channel. The
oh
official
my god.
translation's not much better though. He says woo them. Oh, I gotta fucking take off my glasses. Woo them's some bug ugly panties, crack
What?
stained too. I
Crack?
Keiko's dealing crack. Fuck.
What?
I think it's. Is it the? Does it mean the same?
I'm pretty sure they just translated it differently, but it means he's talking about shit. They just, censored it.
Yeah, I guess.
Wow, I hate the way Yusuke talks. Never mind, forget everything. Fuck Yusuke.
I think it's really just the neither of these translations are that good.
Yes.
I'm gonna be shilling the anime dub the entire time anyway, but yeah, the anime dub does a much better job. Even the anime subs are better than either of these translations. Yusuke and Kuwabara are saying dumb fake curse words like cripes and sheesh. Ever everybody's such a fucking dork. They're way cooler in the anime and the dub. They
Hmm.
were way fucking cooler. They don't talk about Keiko shitting her pants or whatever the fuck they're trying to get across.
She had shit on her pants.
Why? Why? Why with that though? I
Well, you gotta be some kind of
you gotta be some kind of pants shitter to hang with you.
yeah, I was gonna say like yeah. There you go.
Okay, I forget where we were. That just hit me like a truck.
I'm
That hit me
so
like a car.
I'm so sorry. It just it
Fuck
drew
were
my
you
attention.
reading? What the fuck were you reading even?
Dude, I told you it was so bad.
Yeah, because
I
I thought
loved
you
it.
were I thought you were following the fucking link I sent you.
You said that shit so long ago.
It's there.
Yeah.
And anyway, yeah. Now we move on to fucking where were we? You derailed me so terribly. You little boy.
Yusuke was
Yeah,
he encountered
Botan.
some people who were wait, what? Botan? What?
I thought.
Oh, are
I
we
thought
just
maybe.
skipping chapter 1
No, that's still chapter one.
or okay.
I was just. I think I was saying like we kind of I cover. I'm trying to kind of
Cover everything
got a
in
lot to
order?
cover, so I'm trying to do
Okay, I gotcha.
things kind of generally. Although
Yeah.
I guess we can talk more. Do you have anything to say about Kuwabara's introduction?
I originally thought that he was from another school, but he's not. So I just misunderstood that. I don't know. That was weird.
Uh, yeah, you mean we spend the first half of the first chapter, kind of with Yusuke recalling what happened today and kind of being introduced to the people of his life.
Yeah.
His lazy ass mom, his sort of rival Kuwabara, his only friend Keiko, um, the teachers at his school, and we just kind of get a glimpse at what his life's like. And after that, we go back to the present, where Yusuke is just straight up dead, and he is greeted by Botan, the Grim Reaper.
Holy shit, it's Botan.
Botan's cute.
Yes, she is.
She's enjoyable. I enjoy her. But that's kind of devaluing her. I think Botan's a great sort of foil to Yusuke for these early chapters. She's not afraid of him like so many characters apparently are, and she's willing to sass him, but she's still looking out for him and is on his side.
Yeah, it's weird because like you get the impression she doesn't have a very like good opinion of Yusuke, but then like she's there when it counts, you know what I mean? So she like she still supports Yusuke even though she's not always sure if he's doing the right thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the relationships in Yu Yu Hakusho, which is one of my favorite aspects of it, are kind of built around this same kind of setup of these characters are always willing to, rib at each other, dig at each other, kind of poke fun and point out their flaws and stuff, but are still kind of there for them when the time comes. And I think that's important to a lot of characters having these sort of relationships to them, because it's real, it's realistic. Nobody's going to be just like this overly sentimental, oh, we're such good friends, oh, off we go, my friends. Like if you're with your actual friends, you're gonna just be like poking fun and cracking jokes and all that stuff, all that shit, with Keiko.
Man, she's got to get something figured out with that.
Yeah, she's got some problems, I guess. But yeah, that's something that I think is important with a lot of characters, especially Yusuke and Hiei, that all of these characters, down to like the non-fighters like Botan, who in other series they may be like too intimidated by their edgy coolness to talk back. Having these characters be able to talk back at them really goes a long way to making these characters feel real, make their relationships feel real, and really just kind of up the series' quality, in my opinion.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, we learn a bit from Botan about how Yusuke as a ghost hasn't moved on to the afterlife for real, because his death was unexpected, and because it was like he died doing a good deed. It like off-centered his balance of where they were gonna put him, enough that the
It's
the,
so like
the
sudden and like unexpected that it like completely
yeah,
offset like
yeah,
the
they
way
don't
that
know
the
what to do
gods
with him.
envisioned things,
They
which
don't
is
know what to do with
insane.
him, essentially.
Yeah.
And so because of that, they're just like, you want to come back to life? You can do a thing.
Yeah.
But
I don't think
yeah,
they directly explain it here, but later on they explain that it's because they can't they need to further judge him and they can't judge him unless he's alive.
right. He needs to be doing stuff to,
Yeah.
off-center that whole karma thing.
Yeah. They need
Uh, yeah,
he needs more data is necessary.
essentially, yeah. These are kind of tests to collect data on him.
Hmm.
But Yusuke is unsure. He's just sort of like, he sort of blows off the idea like, nobody would want me back anyway. Life was kind of shitty. Being a ghost might be fun. I'm just gonna chill. But
Yeah.
Botan basically chews him out a bit, and then it's just like, okay, I'm gonna give you an hour to cool off. Uh, your wake's gonna be happening tonight. Why don't you go check that out? I'll get back to you then. And so we move on to the whole funeral scene for Yusuke, and fuck, this scene always gets me. Like
Yeah.
Yusuke is finally seeing that even if the rest of the world shits on him,
Yeah, like
I'll
pretty
make
much everyone there just doesn't give a fuck. But then
I'll
like
make another
the
Keiko
people
joke.
who
Don't do it. Don't
but
make
then
another
the people
Keiko
who
joke.
count care. So,
Yeah, there are people that still care for him and see his true self. He's not coming after this when he finally decides to do the whole ordeal. He's not coming back to life to like become the hero that he'll be after, or because of his own desire. Like, I want to live again. Clarence, I want to live again. He's doing it for the people that care about him. And that's going to pretty much be his guiding principle from then on. He's not doing it for himself. He's doing it because of the people in his life. And we
Yeah.
get we got all of these really sad scenes. Keiko crying is obvious, but the Kuwabara bit, that's especially in the anime
Yeah.
with the voice acting, he's just so torn up, and he's just you can't duck out now.
You really get the idea that like they've at least, even if it's maybe just one-sided, Kuwabara's kind of developed this like unspoken relationship with Yusuke, this unspoken friendship where they've never really been like friends, but like he feels it when Yusuke is gone.
They've become a part of each other's life.
Yeah,
essentially.
I find that pretty cool.
Yeah, and then there's the school. Is he the principal?
Takanaka he's just like his homeroom teacher, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, Takanaka is able to like shut down the two asshole teachers, and he kind of breaks down, wishing that Yusuke had been able to like stay alive because he had potential to make something of himself. That's around the time that Yusuke's mom starts breaking down, and this is the first time she's actually shown to be like caring about him. She's really dismissive in her scene earlier, and she's just been kind of like in a daze at the funeral so far. But like here, we're actually kind of seeing, like this is probably the point. Let me talk about Atsuko for a bit. There's something that I never knew before.
Yeah.
Yusuke's 14, Atsuko's 29. She had him when she was 15.
Yeah.
That's like
yeah.
I feel
well,
like
that
an,
it definitely like tells you like this is how Yusuke grew up. He didn't like grow up in like this loving family.
Yeah, this is not a stable home. His dad's a no-show, and his mom raised him pretty much as a teenager and young adult who still wanted to, have her own life. She wasn't ready to be a mom, so to speak.
Yeah.
So he just kind of he was just kind of on his own essentially. And this is like her breaking down here is sort of like you can tell she's realizing like how she's never kind of been there for him like as a real parent, and she's kind of like regretting it, and you can kind of see that in how she acts once he's back alive. And then there's the bit with the kid he saved talking like he doesn't really get that Yusuke's dead and gone. He's too young, and he's just like, I want to play with you again, so wake up, motherfucker. He doesn't say motherfucker, I added that. And yeah, it's just a great scene. It pays off everything we learned in the first half of the chapter and provides a good springboard into Yusuke's ordeal to come back to life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep making these noises. Are you glad about that? Are you happy?
I love it.
Oh, I love it.
But yeah, so he decides that he wants to go back to being alive.
Yeah, so it's off to Spirit World.
Spirit World.
It's the afterlife.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. There's more DBZ like influences that we'll get later, the spirit gun obviously, but like the spirit world here, it's very similar to Toriyama's ideas of like taking the whole idea of like the underworld being like this bureaucracy of ogres and actually presenting it like a modern office building with the ogres running around doing paperwork, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. This was after Dragon Ball, right? Yeah, Dragon Ball was like the 80s and this was like the 90s, right?
Yeah, I think Dragon Ball would be in like the Cell or Buu saga around 91, I think.
Yeah, it's
definitely after
pretty
the
sure.
Saga.
I'm pretty sure it's like the Cell saga.
Right.
So yeah, there could possibly a bit of inspiration there. Also, I'm pretty sure like the original inspiration is from Journey to the West. But
Yeah,
like
I
I think
mean,
the direct like the ogres being like this modern society is more Dragon
yeah,
Ball. It's not from Journey to the
yeah,
West.
yeah. Taking the idea and like modernizing it to
Yeah,
have them acting like it's a real office building, that I can definitely see the
as a Dragon
DBZ
Ball
influence.
specific thing. Yeah,
Yeah, and
pretty cool.
moving up, yeah, and from here we meet Koenma, another important figure throughout the series. Sort of the big good, the big leader man of sorts. You know, Yusuke's
Yeah,
boss.
yeah.
He's all right.
Um, I like that he is wearing a pacifier.
Yeah, he's fun.
It's nice. Very
The anim-
very cool.
the anime adds a lot more of him. I'm
Yeah, I can
sure.
imagine.
I'm sure, Dylan, you noticed that once
I
once
only I
Yusuke was
only
kind of,
watched like the first like half of the first episode, so I don't know.
it's like so in the manga, all of the scenes with Koenma in his office, like watching on TV Yusuke's exploits, like he does that during the Genkai tournament, he does that during the Saint Beasts, he does that during the
Ah.
Rescue Kina. There's
So
all
are you
these scenes
telling me
of
he has a magic crystal ball that allows him to watch Yusuke shit?
yes. That's exactly no. He's got like a fucking flat screen TV in his office that he can watch the anime on. And
Oh yeah.
yeah. In the Genkai tournament, it's just a bunch of ogres, but after that, it's just one blue ogre. George Sayotome is his name apparently. Although they don't give him the name until Chapter Black, he's just called Blue Ogre. And yeah,
I
him and
see.
Koenma just as they watch Yusuke, as Yusuke goes around on his adventures, they cut back to these two and having these funny little jokes, funny little comedy bits, funny little slapstick. Koenma gets mad and slaps around Blue Ogre, and they do all these
Wow.
crazy things, and it's a little annoying.
Yes. Sounds like it.
I'm sure some people
Like it?
think
Yeah.
it's yeah. I'm sure
Kids
some
maybe?
people think it's funny, but I, it just
Also
it can kind of
probably
get
the
annoying.
I would imagine that the comedy is dated.
It's not
So,
that it's dated. It's just that it's very it's gag heavy.
mhm.
It's like funny face. They're doing
Yeah.
the
There's
routine.
there's not enough shit covered underwear in the jokes, so
That's correct. That's
so
correct.
what can you do when you're competing
I,
against shit stains?
I mean, Koenma's a baby. He's probably in diapers.
That's
No.
true.
Actually, no. He says he's potty trained. He
What?
does make that. He makes that claim. Yes, at least in
But
the
is it
version I
true?
watched. I wouldn't know.
We will have to test him.
Yeah, we'll have to check. Yusuke, let's lift his skirt.
Yusuke, here's this crystal ball. Watch him while he shits.
Yusuke, I'm letting you borrow my crystal ball. I took it from the third Hokage. Who? Ignore that.
True.
Yeah. So Koenma starts the whole ordeal. He gives Yusuke a spirit egg inside his spirit's beast. And the ordeal is to basically wait it out, wait for it to hatch by doing some stuff. And whatever, if Yusuke's a good person, does some good deeds, keeps a positive attitude, he can come back to life. But if he's a little bad boy, his soul will be eaten away once it hatches. And that's kind of how that's kind of setting up the general status quo for the next
Couple
like
chapters.
15-ish chapters. But first we gotta take care of the whole body thing. They're gonna cremate him, or
Yeah.
maybe not. Actually, I
I think they just always cremate people in Japan. I'm pretty sure
I
that's the
mean
thing.
No, I'm saying I remember reading the manga chapter, and I remember the anime did it differently. So I'm trying to remember how the manga did it. I feel it was Yusuke running around. He possesses Kuwabara. That's the same as the anime.
Yeah.
He's trying to find Keiko or his mom and tell him like, "Don't cremate me. I'm coming back to life."
No, that was a later thing. What happens here is he goes into Keiko's dream
Right,
and tells her. And then
right.
later on, when he gets the opportunity, like the last opportunity to talk to her, he goes into Kuwabara's body to just,
Right.
talk to her.
That was it. That was
Yeah.
it. Yusuke goes into the dream. Then Keiko goes to his mom, and that's when his mom's like I can feel a heartbeat. He's back alive. Right.
Yeah, which is actually kind of funny because he never had to go into her dreams in the first place because his mom already just figured it out.
Yeah, she said like I opened the casket so I can smack him one last time for dying on me. But yeah, it's different in the anime, and I feel like the anime kind of made it a bit more of a like thing.
What
But
happens in the anime?
uh, he does the dream thing as he does in the manga, and then when Keiko goes to Atsuko, Atsuko hasn't checked on Yusuke yet, and she says like I had a dream too, and she describes this weird
Uh,
like nonsense dream. So Keiko's just like, oh, maybe I guess it was a dream. So Yusuke has to go into Kuwabara's body to find Keiko and be like, that wasn't a dream. It's real. I'm coming back. So it's not just like he's not just possessing Kuwabara just to, like talk to Keiko one last time. He has to
yeah.
like double down on the don't cremate me, and that makes it a bit more
I
of a
I think it makes more sense to do it that way, but I also like the whole idea of like him wanting to talk to her one last time.
yeah. That's true. It's sweet. There's another
Yeah.
sweet thing that the anime skipped over. It was like this little it's like this little cute little flashback of young Yusuke and Keiko.
Yeah, that
It
was
was really
cool.
cute.
It
I'm
was,
sad the
yeah.
anime cut that. I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that pretty much sets the status quo. Yusuke's a ghost. His body's just kind of chilling. Not in the hospital, as you'd expect for somebody essentially in a coma, but
Yeah,
I,
they just don't tell anybody. They just like keep it a secret that Yusuke's alive.
I mean, a doctor
Which
knows. They had a doctor come by,
wait,
and
really?
yeah, they say that in the manga. There's like a little not
How
speech, but
the
like a little thought bubble of like we had a doctor. Atsuko called a doctor, and yeah, he confirmed it.
wouldn't the
Yusuke's
doctor
alive
like
again.
legally have to like tell the government that he's not dead?
I
Would
I don't know. I
it
guess
wouldn't the like
maybe
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure.
Would he not say you should check him into a hospital so you can have like an
Yeah.
IV in him, monitor his pulse and stuff? I know he's just kind of they're just
Cuz
letting
like
him like
he's registered as dead at this
yeah
point. Like he's like by the government he's dead.
yeah he's legally fucking yeah.
So
They're just letting him like sleep it off like it's a cold, and the doctor I guess is like yeah that makes sense. That's medically sound.
yeah. Um okay.
Uh, I guess some of these stories, like the one where Yusuke can temporarily come back for a day, wouldn't have worked if that was the case. Yusuke comes back temporarily. All of you anime only watchers are gonna want to perk your ears up for this because we're
Wait.
heading into all of the stuff that they cut out from the anime.
Oh yeah, all this was cut from the anime, wasn't it?
Not all of it, but most. Here's how the anime does it. Episode 1 was chapter 1, as you'd expect.
Yeah.
Episode 2 was all the stuff with Koenma and Yusuke trying to like pass along the message of don't cremate me, going into Kuwabara's body, all that. Episode 3 was the chapter about Kuwabara and his gang being hounded by that teacher and Yusuke helping him out as a ghost. That chapter was extended
Yeah.
some, and
That was like one of the last arcs in this little arc.
wasn't it one?
I'm
No,
pretty
it
sure,
was.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was one of the first. I think you're maybe thinking of the one where Yusuke temporarily comes back, and Kuwabara's around for that one too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one was episode 3. Episode 4 was the one with the fire, and when Yusuke
Wow.
sacrifices the egg.
Yeah,
And
that one was
episode
towards the end.
Yeah, and episode 5 was Yusuke waking up for the first half, and then the whole thing with like the little possession demon in the second half. So everything besides that was skipped over or taken a little, like maybe taken like a scene or two and transplanting it. Like I know in the temporary resurrection one, there's a little bit where Yusuke is like talking to these two guys, and he's like, "You can see me? Wow, it's cool being alive." And I know they took that and put it in the anime after he comes back for good.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll get into all of these
I
little stories.
I am disappointed that these were not adapted into the anime. Because, like I said, this is like my favorite part.
I understand it, but I would have
It's,
enjoyed
yeah.
like maybe include them as like a little OVA collecting them later on,
Uh,
or maybe some sort of filler thing. I don't know.
I don't
It
think
would have.
there's really any. If they were like going for like just cutting out stuff that doesn't match with the rest of the series, then I don't see why they would ever adapt it at all.
I guess. I guess. Yeah. But
But I wish
yeah.
they did.
First one was the old dog and the boy, and it's a nice little story, about this kid's old dog is gonna die and he doesn't want to let go, and he's like this little wimpy kid that keeps getting bullied. So Yusuke is like, he's the punkish guy. He's like, why doesn't he just beat the shit out of him? And Botan's like, nah, that's not everybody's solution to things. And it's just this nice little story. Yusuke at the end plays like a little fun pretend villain, and like to help toughen the kid up.
I'm not really a fan of that because like his solution to to this kid being bullied is just to traumatize him and make him solve his problems by being tough. I don't
It's
I don't know if that's like the greatest message to send.
it's like a maturity. He's teaching the kid to like stand up for himself. He's helping him deal with this loss by kind of giving him a target, I guess. And at the end, the kid's able to like stand up for himself a bit more.
I don't really know the answer to this, but that doesn't seem like the most healthy solution. But then again,
I
it's Yusuke.
Yeah, and it's also early '90s Japan.
Yeah.
It's as we said, this can be a little dated.
Yes. Definitely.
Also this was a dog story, and I love dogs.
Dogs are cool. His dog just wanted to be to hang out with him. And
Yeah.
yeah.
The next one was Her First Christmas. Yusuke helping out like a spirit stuck in the same place because she was waiting for her boyfriend. Or no, what was it? She was sick and she wanted to go there with a
No,
boy.
no, that was a different one. This is the one where she had a boyfriend who she was gonna meet on Christmas, and
Right,
he and then she. Oh wait, yeah. Then she did get sick. Yeah, yeah. She got
right,
sick and
right,
then and couldn't come and then she died.
right. And so she's like just waiting there on the bench. She's been
Yeah.
doing it for like a year.
And then it turns out
Uh,
that he's a complete douchebag.
yeah, but Yusuke is just like, fuck that guy. You want to go out on the town, have a date? I'll do it for you. And they just kind of go around having fun as ghosts,
Yeah.
doing like this big fun date that she had wanted to do, and it's nice. It's a sweet story, but also kind of it's bittersweet. A lot of these stories are. They'd have to be dealing with death. It's,
Yeah. It is
I feel
pretty
this.
cute.
I feel the same about I think it was called A Lonely Journey. Is that the one with the Tanuki?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an old man, this bitter old man, but then we find out he's so bitter because he lost his family in an accident, and he's gonna die in a few days. But Yusuke and Botan meet this Tanuki, who the old man apparently helped along with his grandson. So the Tanuki wants to use his shape shifting powers that are totally real in this universe. I guess to like pretend to be the grandson and just kind of help the old man in his last days. And it's also just kind of this cute, bittersweet kind of story, you know?
Yeah. It's nice.
Yeah. After that is the Kuwabara chapter having to go a week without fighting because his friend's part-time job is on the line with this douchebag teacher. It's the only one that it's the only one of these besides the fire one that was adapted, which makes sense. Kuwabara is a major character. We got to give
Hmm.
him a bit of a build up, and this chapter is
This is a
important for us
good one,
leaders.
yeah.
Yeah, learn more about him, and it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good story, and we learn about a lot about Kuwabara. We learn to get he's got a sense of honor. He'll always be there for his friends, and we know Yusuke now has some respect for the guy. And it's short and simple, but it's nice and it's important too.
Yeah, definitely. Um, I just have a little bit to talk about with this one.
So
Um, it it's kind of been like a thing, since the start, but the teachers are like drawn like really like just weird.
what do you mean?
But okay. I mean like well there's a lot of like background characters and stuff that are drawn weird, like kind of how like we were talking about in like JoJo, for example, where a lot of the background characters who are kind of meant to be seen in negative light are drawn like to look weird and like
Ugly bastards,
ugly
yes.
bastards, yes. And that's the thing here too. um yeah, so like the teachers specifically like are all drawn like that. Um it's I mean like it kind of makes sense. And like well it's not just that they're drawn like that. They're also like a lot of the teachers aside from Takanaka really are just like irredeemably evil for no reason whatsoever.
Right.
And it kind of makes sense like because this story is told from the perspective of Yusuke and Kuwabara and like the students basically. And like
Yeah.
as like a middle school student from your perspective, everything like whenever like you get in trouble or like a teacher is supposedly mean to you or whatever, it's just because they're an evil bastard and there's no redeeming qualities about them and they just are evil for no reason.
Exactly.
But like in real life, almost everything they do is like for a reason. And um in here in this manga it's like
Well, yeah.
they're just
You
evil.
gotta know your audience. You can't. You gotta be like, yeah, fuck the man, at least a little
Yeah. So
bit.
I figured I'd mention that.
How dare Mr. Baka come down on Keiko for selling crack?
Yeah, right. Uh, basically.
Nailed that. What was after this one? Was the next one the temporary resurrection one?
Let us see. Chapter 8 is yes, it is the temporary resurrection one, I think.
Yeah, I I
Part
forget what
1.
I think the reason that they gave is like, yeah, your body's just gonna be rotting if you don't just like get up and do something, get the blood flowing a little bit. So you just kind of got to get in your body like once a month ish. They say once a month, but this is the only time it ever happens. So whatever.
Yeah, I don't even know how much fucking time passes. Like,
I think
it's
it's
not
just like a
clear.
day.
No,
I think they.
I mean
Oh,
like over the course of like this whole section of the story, I don't know like what time skips there are, how much time goes by. It's not clear.
with this little bit of information, I would assume maybe like
A
2 months.
month. 2 months, yeah. Could be, yeah. A
Between
month
a
on
month
either
and
end.
two. Yeah, between 1 and 2 months, I think we can say. And so yeah, Yusuke has to this kind of possess his body essentially, and he apparently, what was the rule again? He couldn't see people that he.
No, he could see them, but like he couldn't like talk to them, and he couldn't make like he he couldn't directly communicate with them. Basically, that was it.
Yeah, Kuwabara was fine. He could talk to Kuwabara fine, but not Keiko. That was just kind of the
Wait, did
crux
he
of it.
talk to Kuwabara?
Yeah, when they were
Oh
walking home.
yeah, at the end, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was just
it's
Keiko because she is like his special
love it.
loved one or whatever.
His special gal.
Yes.
uh, yeah, that's pretty much the crux of this whole situation. Yusuke could not be seen by Keiko.
It's weird that it's like only Keiko specifically, and she could just like run around as Yusuke and like beating people up and shit, and like everybody like learns that he's around, or like at least hears that he's around. Meanwhile, just Keiko can't know, which is so
Yeah,
weird.
I guess. Maybe his mom too, but his mom's not around, so
Yeah, she's like
it's a
chilling out.
non-issue.
She's chilling out with the pimps,
Yeah,
which is
pimps and hoes.
yeah. Well, she is the hoe, but yes.
What does she do for a living?
I'm guessing she works for pimps, considering.
I
Wait, is this another translation thing?
I I don't
Because there were multiple times where she was like, yeah, where she said she gets paid by pimps or something like that,
I don't
and
know about
so
anything about pimps, but I know that in the official translation, there's a few like references to have her having yakuza ties of sorts.
okay.
Do they say pimps in your version?
Literally, they say, yeah, she's going to get paid by the pimps.
Oh my fucking
Yes.
god!
Yeah, like it's yes.
The
So
translation you read is so wild.
I don't I don't know if this is like the true translation of like stuff that wasn't censored, or if this is just like the wild imaginations of some Japanese guy.
I have no fucking clue. They turned Asuka into a prostitute and Keiko into a pants shitter. What the hell is
Yeah,
going
dude.
on? What the fuck's gonna be next? Oh, now I want to read it myself. It's like some sort of bizarro land.
It was a wild ride.
Oh my god. Uh, it doesn't make sense that she has yakuza ties. I think there's a in one of like the the one-off chapters near the very end of the arc. I think there's like an implication that like a yakuza guy that she's seen talking to is Yusuke's biological dad. That's something else that's cut from the anime, like all these. But yeah, as far as that's that's certainly something. Uh, where were we? Help me change the subject.
No.
We need to talk more about this.
This is
we need to
important.
theorize. How much does Yusuke's mom charge?
Uh,
Oh,
who
boy.
knows?
I don't care to know. Oh yeah, Yusuke's alive again temporarily. Can't be seen by Keiko. And yeah, the actual like conflict and stuff comes about because Keiko ends up being like her and her friends get harassed by some street toughs, some uh, other middle schoolers, and she ends up getting dragged off by them to have a quote unquote cup of tea. You know that old manga trope from old manga. Uh, it's been a while since I read this. I can't really remember. All I know is that eventually Yusuke busts in while wearing a mask, which counts as, I guess,
Well,
to
because he's
defeat
not
them.
directly talking to
Right.
to her or like revealing himself.
Right. I my main thoughts about this whole arc are about Keiko herself. I feel like this does a good amount for her characterization alongside
Oh yeah.
the fire stuff. I feel like Keiko is, even though she has to play the damsel in distress a few times across the story, I feel like Keiko is just personality wise a lot tougher than a lot of other
Yeah.
non-action love interests. But then again, she's got to feel as tough as Yusuke on a personality level, or their dynamic would feel kind of lopsided.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely.
because she's able to like go back and forth with him like no one's business, their dynamic
Yeah.
works really well across the series.
Yeah, this is kind of like set up a lot. Like even in chapter 1, where like she's the only one who's not afraid of Yusuke. Um, like you said, she can go back and forth with him. There was another thing that I forgot, but there's other things.
Yeah, she knows the real him, and
Yeah.
she's not afraid of any.
Oh yeah, there was also the uh there was that little backstory thing that we were talking about earlier, where it was showing them as kids, and like how she was like being friendly with him even as a kid, and like she was very like extroverted and loud
Right.
as a kid, just like Yusuke.
Right. Yeah, it helps. Like you can see where this whole relationship came from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my other note about her was oh, and as this whole fight's going down, Keiko is passed out, and a fire breaks out in the cafe. And Yusuke's gonna like go and grab her and get out, but she wakes up, and like it seems like she sees him, which is uh, bad. I forget why it's bad, but it's bad. But it turns out she's actually just looking at the fire, so she's just like fire, and
Yeah,
she grabs
yeah.
she grabs a thing, she puts it out, and then falls like she just passes out again. And my note with like yeah, it's silly and it's kind of a cop out. It's just there to have that drama moment. But I just remember thinking that is just so Keiko,
I
just waking up from being passed out and just like doing the responsible thing and then promptly going back to sleep. That feels
Yeah,
very
definitely.
Keiko.
I wasn't sure like if she did like actually pass out again or not. It's kind of unclear because like as we see later, like later on she's pretending to still be passed out.
Right.
Like so she could get around the rule of not talking to Yusuke because she could hear him, but she's like not interacting with him and not making it clear that she is
Right.
interacting with him.
She's
So
not talking to her.
do you,
She's just listening as he talks to Kuwabara.
yeah, I so no, I don't. I think she probably did just pass out here, but I was going to say that maybe she foresaw that, I guess, and just pretended to pass out, but there's no
I don't.
fucking way.
Yeah, I don't think so. She wouldn't have known
Yeah.
that's the rule. I think it's just that she woke up on the piggy ride back home.
Yeah.
Piggyback ride, not piggy ride. Yusuke's not
But yeah,
home.
what you said definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does a lot to characterize Keiko, and I enjoy that. Keiko's probably one of my favorite like love interests of shonen.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's good.
She's not
Little,
out there like fighting shonen people, but
yeah,
she's a strong personality and she has a cool dynamic with Yusuke and everything.
exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. And yeah, that was the temporary resurrection little two-parter. Cute little detour to mix things up. Probably more memorable than a lot of these one shots, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a two-parter. It's cool.
I think the next one is the one that introduces Sayaka.
Uh, oh, wait. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And I
We get
can
the
say,
boy comes back, Shota.
yeah, the boy from the dog story,
Yes. Um,
Sayaka.
yeah, she's the thing.
She's even a thing in the anime for an episode and completely different.
Really?
Yeah, you want to know what her deal is?
Yeah, what's her deal in the anime?
So in the anime, she's like, she's not so in the manga, for everybody who doesn't know, she's just a little girl who like was very sickly and died. So as a ghost, she wants to like make friends and
Yeah.
play, and the whole like, not really a battle, but like the whole conflict is like her trying to drag Shota, the little boy from the dog story, off to the afterlife, even though it's not his time yet. Like, so she'll have a playmate,
Yeah.
but Yusuke has to, stop her. And the resolution is just like she's gonna hang out with Yusuke and Botan and just kind of
Yeah.
have some experiences,
Which
so
is
she
cool
can go
because
off to
she's
the
like
afterlife.
she's like around for a while in the manga. She's around for a
Yeah,
couple chapters, which is cool.
like a volume's worth, I think, maybe a little less.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's nice. She's a fun little like she's like a fun little cute little temporary addition to the cast, and a nice little, another good foil for Yusuke with her
Uh-huh.
innocence and being unafraid of him. Um, in the anime, she is not a ghost of a little girl, but a presumably old enough to have a job inspector, quote unquote, who's there to like make a more thorough judgment of Yusuke after like, observing him for a little bit. And the whole episode is also covering the whole fire thing, so it starts with her like in the manga when we get to the fire chapter. Is that next actually? The fire stuff? Is that
I
right
don't
after Sayaka?
I don't know.
But in the anime, yeah, they like Botan mentions Keiko, and she's like, "Who's Keiko?" "Oh, it's Yusuke's girlfriend." "Not my girlfriend." And Sayaka is just like, "No, I'll go observe her. That may be fun." And so we kind of like cover the whole fire chapters with
Hmm.
Sayaka still in her role of observing Keiko. And eventually
Interesting.
she just leaves at the end, saying her report is done. Basically, just there, just so the anime could say, "Look, we had her too," even though it's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our general thoughts on Sayaka. Her intro chapter was cute enough.
Um there is one thing I would like to say.
What's
Uh
that?
remember earlier we were talking about the other arc with Shota where basically Yusuke's solution was to just traumatize the kid.
Yeah,
What's his solution in this
I
arc?
forget.
His solution is to just spank her.
Oh yeah,
He, y- yeah.
it,
All she needed all along was just a good spanking. That was it. Yep.
some corporal punishment. Remember,
Yeah,
the s-
she never got to grow up as a kid, so the solution is to spank her like a normal kid. Yep. Mhm. Totally.
I mean the spirit is there, no pun intended, but this
Yeah.
manga's 30 this manga's 30 years old now.
Yeah. So yeah, that's great. Good stuff.
Yeah, good times, good times. All right, next one's not the fire stuff. Next is about the college girls with the
Yes.
curse. I forgot their
Yes.
names.
Uh, I think one of them is like Aiko or something,
Eiko,
possibly.
Baco, yes.
Eri.
No,
No, it's Eri.
knowing your translation, they're probably just like wood chipper and whoremouth.
What?
That's their names in your translation, I guess.
Yes.
Wood chipper and whoremouth.
True.
Could you tell I improv that? Could you tell by how terrible that was?
It was amazing. I love it.
But yeah, the whole conflict of this, I think it's two-parter as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Is that it's like these two best friends, and they're competing academically for one's like
S
scholarship.
S high school or something like that. I don't know.
S high school. The S stands for Sugoi.
Yeah.
They're competing over this one scholarship, but one of them is like all these crazy things are happening to her, and it
It's so
turns out
strange.
the other girl played like a curse on her. It's like she like
Yeah.
summoned a spirit of some sort.
They're like best friends, but like she always resented her friend because she was like slightly better at her than everything than her at everything.
Right.
But it was actually the other girl respected her so much because she could do things she couldn't, and yeah, it's that storyline.
Right.
We all know that storyline.
We all know that story. Apparently, summoning is a thing in the series now, and it will never be again.
Yeah, it's just like she just read a book and placed a curse on her friend or something.
As one does.
Yeah,
Don't pretend
it's
like you
it's like
haven't.
another. This doesn't really come up till like later, I guess. But apparently, like the supernatural is just like a part of like the world, like that
Kinda.
people kind of know about, and like there's lots of people that are like knowledgeable about this stuff, but it's like not really like a public knowledge kind of thing. But
Yeah.
it's just it's weird. It's like kind of like a world within a world almost.
Something like that. Yeah. It's like people know about as much as they know in real life, except they're correct.
Yeah, kinda. And like
It's
the
really bad.
people who in the real world are just delusional, in this world they were right all along.
Damn.
True.
Very true. Yes. Uh, so yeah, it ends up being like a race against the clock. The spirit that was summoned is dragging the girl like onto train tracks or something or other, even though
Yeah,
the other girl wanted to cancel the curse
because
beforehand.
the curse got too strong for some reason.
Yeah. How does this two-parter end again?
How did it end?
They get run over by the train and both die and both go
Yeah,
to
yeah, definitely.
both go to hell school.
Honestly, I don't even remember how this ends.
They both survive and they both remain friends and they
Well,
both go to
yes,
a different college and ignore the scholarship together.
but also, how does the fucking curse get? Dude, what happened? What?
I forget. It's 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 so
The
non-memorable.
power of friendship, I
That
guess.
yeah, that was it.
Probably.
That was it.
I don't I wasn't that wasn't by memory. That was just,
Right.
you know, that's
Yeah.
obviously the answer.
You know the overall story of this two-parter isn't all that memorable, but I think I do want to note that this is the first time in the manga so far that the arts jumped out at me as being very good. The panel of seeing the
Like the
quote
curse?
unquote accumulation of evil that's
Hmm.
drawn very neat,
It is, yeah.
and I think overall the characters and the general look felt more consistent and like polished than previous chapters.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah, there's a thing. Next one is the fire. That was it.
There we go. Fire
Yeah,
time. I love fire.
me too. And the anime I think is pretty much the same with some minor adjustments. Anyone who's seen the anime knows that general setup. We kind of see Keiko's daily life, and Sayaka and Botan are like, what's she even seen Yusuke? She's so like put together, and like competent
And a
with her
good
pants shitting.
person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, we get a scene of her, checking up on Yusuke. They almost have a sort of necrophilia-ish kiss, but Keiko pulls back. Um, Eventually, there's a fire breaks out at Yusuke's house, and he's almost cremated. But Keiko rushes in to save him, because she's awesome like that.
Because she's Keiko.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. She's Keiko.
True. Truly.
Although I think the anime does a little bit better of making this tense because there was a change in the manga that I'm forgetting. So there's a difference in the anime, and the anime, well, first in the manga, as the fire's spreading and Keiko's trapped inside, Koenma himself shows up, like in the flesh, and he says like, "I can save Keiko." Um, does he bring up the egg? I forget. The anime brings up the egg.
Well, basically, he shows up and then he's like, I could save her. And then Yusuke is like, I'll do anything, no matter the consequences. And then he does it. And then later on, Botan tells him what the consequences are.
Right. Koenma also mentions like Keiko would lose something important to her, but it ends up just being part of her hair.
Yeah,
And it's,
that
it's like
was
a
in the
joke.
that was in the manga too.
Right. The anime the anime does it better because they lay out Koenma's not there, first of all. It's Sayaka that tells Yusuke what he has to do to save her, and they lay out the consequences then and there. He has to throw in the egg into the fire. That's sort of like failing his trial to come back to life, but he'll save Keiko. And he does so, and she's saved. And, like, turns out, like, oh, okay. So Yusuke's trial is done. He fails. He's going to move on now. But then Koenma appears, and he's like, actually, you're all good.
That is
That's
so shitty.
I I think it's better because it's in the manga the whole like thing is it's solved as soon as Koenma shows up. He's just like, yeah, I can do something about it. In the anime, it feels like there's a choice to be made. Either Yusuke can like doom him. Yusuke has to doom himself and his chances in order to save Keiko, and he does so. And it's giving up on the option of coming back to life, like being willing to give it up. That in the end gets him over the line of like, okay, you're all good to come back to life.
I think the opposite. I think in the manga, it's like, it's pretty clear that that's the case. That like, it's just basically just skipping over it. Like, he's deciding to do this regardless of the consequences, even if it could mean that. So
Well,
he just,
he doesn't know the consequences.
yeah, and like he's so desperate that he doesn't care about the consequences.
I think it's better if he knows the consequences and still does it. He doesn't care about the consequences,
Hmm.
even though he knows they're bad.
Interesting.
Oh well.
Agree to
The anime
disagree.
yeah. The anime also cuts out a quick scene with Kuwabara's sister Shizuru. In the anime, we don't see her until she appears during the early part of the Rescue Yukina arc.
Mm-hmm. Well, also there's the I also like that it's not immediately revealed. It's not like, oh yeah, now. Well, okay, so is it in the anime? Is it like Koenma shows up and he's like, yeah, Yusuke, you can just come back to life now, or is it like
It's
in the manga where it's like, actually, the egg is fine.
it's like
You're
I
sharing.
forget I forget the exact details, but it's like Yusuke is told like you gotta throw into the egg into the fire and basically fail your ordeal to save Keiko, and Yusuke does it. And then there's a whole like we go to the end of the episode with Yusuke realizing like I guess there goes my chances. All right, I guess I gotta move on now as long as Keiko's safe. And then Koenma appears in the sky. That's like a huge fucking giant, like a fucking titan looking over the wall. It's just like not true. That was the end of your ordeal. All the spirit energy something or other. You're good to come back.
Okay. Okay, so it's basically just like the manga where he's just like, you're gonna get another chance anyways, but it's not like this is where it's like, yeah, you're good now. Go be alive.
Yeah.
That's the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
that's not really a problem then. I don't mind that.
right.
I
So
still I still like the whole like him not caring about the consequences in the first place thing.
I guess, yeah. And there's one last section of there's one last little ghost and misadventure before we get to the reawakening.
Also, there was just a guy just committing arson.
Oh yeah, and he never gets caught. We never follow up with him.
He's
We
just
never learn
walking
who that
around
was.
setting houses on fire for no reason. What the fuck?
That's Togashi's trying to end the manga early.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's good characterization for himself.
Yeah.
um, yeah, the last little ghost shenanigans section is a two-parter with apparently an old
Oh,
friend of
the
Yusuke's
kid.
from elementary school, Matsuo.
That guy.
Yeah, it, this I think this might be like the best of these little misadventures, at least the best written, because having this be like this is a person with Yusuke that Yusuke has some history with, and they interact directly the entire time. Yusuke's not just like peering over the shoulder watching this whole thing play out. Yusuke is like he's right there in the thick of things, talking to Matsuo, trying to advise him.
Yeah.
Because this whole story is about this guy Matsuo. He's in the boxing club, but he's kind of a wimp of sorts. He's not like he's a good boxer, but like a lot of his opponents are like street toughs that dirty fight. And
Hmm. Also,
like
he just doesn't he knows how to fight. Like he's very good at like the
he's
technicals of boxing, but like he can't punch another person. He can't
yeah
fight people.
he's gun shy
Once
essentially.
he's in front of another opponent, he just like cowers and shit. So
So, yeah. So Yusuke essentially like half possesses his body. They're just kind of like they're sharing a body essentially, and they're kind of
yeah,
talking to each other in his head. I feel like that's a strength of this two-parter that Yusuke is able to directly talk to and influence the person and advise him, the person that he's helping, combined with like the history he has with this person. It makes for a more interesting dynamic, and Yusuke also kind of changes a bit too. And like it's his last trial to be brought back, so there's some stakes for Yusuke in this as well. He's not just like an outside observer; he's in the thick of things.
I don't think it was like clear to Yusuke that this was his last trial. It just happened to be.
No, but like meta, I,
Yeah.
I guess. And yeah, the story ends with Yusuke able to like bring out the confidence in Matsuo and help him to stand up for himself. Essentially,
Hmm.
that's a that's a lot of these stories. I think a lot of these characters are having these kind of not stock problems, but just like problems you might have seen in other manga, and they're like they would play out normally if not for Yusuke's just like blunt punkish tendencies, getting people to like look over their
Yeah.
reservations, look past their problems, and just go for the straightforward answer.
One thing is it's like it's kind of weird thinking of like a lot of like the scenarios that were encountered in this manga as like stock things that happen in other manga
I mean,
because really if you think about it, a lot of it probably like even unknowingly like to us because we don't know everything, a lot of it is probably like this might be the first time this happened or like one of the like first times and this is the inspiration for these other things. So it's kind of weird to think of it like
I mean,
um
when I'm saying like stock, I mean like think of the first one with the boy and his dog. That's like, oh, it's the boy like he's losing his beloved pet,
mhm,
but he's got to toughen up and let go with some dignity and stuff. Oh, Matsuo's story. I'm sure there's been plenty of sports manga that have done this, where it's like, oh, the wimpy-ish kid that could be great, but he's got to learn to like like
Yeah.
grow a little bit of fighting spirit. Oh, it's the two best friends, and they're torn apart by this academic rivalry, and they have to
Yeah.
make up in the end. Like,
It
I'm
may
sure
or
there's
may
a lot
not
of
be like this is like really like the first time something like this is happening, or if this is like a long running like thing within like media in general.
yeah,
But
whether or
like
not
I
whether
th
or,
we don't know. That's the thing,
yeah,
because
well,
our knowledge isn't all
right,
encompassing.
right, whether or not these are like kind of like newish stuff or very tropey at this point, we don't know. The point I'm trying to get across is that like these are all stories that would like go with, you can kind of tell where they would go if
Yeah,
left
it's simple.
their own devices. But Yusuke is able to use his like blunt, punkish tendencies to like
He's different.
flip the script essentially.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. And
It's
yeah,
pretty cool.
that's all of the short little ghosty misadventures. Now we move back into the stuff that the anime does adapt.
Chapter 17, I think. What
I
is
think
it?
so.
Yes, chapter 17. The
Golden
Golden Awakening.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
Congratulations.
If I was a weekly reader, like not knowing what the series would become, like I could see
This is like the end of the series.
not the end of the series, but just like with the whole like time limit and stuff, and how like, oh, we won't have another chance for a long time if Yusuke misses his chance. I could see this being a real nail biter, because like the set formula at this point of the story is Yusuke doing good deeds as a ghost. That's what people expect as the status quo. And so
You're not sure what's gonna happen next.
a savvy reader might think they'd fail just to keep the status quo. But instead, they
Yeah.
succeed and the status quo changes greatly.
Yeah, this isn't a fucking rom-com where they have to keep the status quo. This is
Right.
Yu Yu Hakusho, where
Yeah.
it becomes a shonen.
Yeah, where it changes genres of like every arc.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's there's not like really a lot to talk about with this chapter. Yusuke has a chance to come back, and he almost misses it, but Keiko is able to deliver the life-saving kiss at the last second,
It was
and Yusuke is back in business. Yeah.
Yeah. They had a great time, didn't they?
Thank God Kuwabara showed up and kissed Yusuke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kuwabara, he had a dream that he was gonna kiss Yusuke.
Love it.
That's when, yes, Kuwabara finds out he's actually gay.
You can't catch me, gay dreams.
He's like, I've always wondered why I've never wanted to kiss a girl. This is why.
Yukina is his bi-awakening in actuality. I didn't know I was attracted to women, too.
True.
Bruh. How do you think he felt about Kurama?
What, Kuwabara?
No, yeah.
Um,
You give me strange feelings, Redhead.
he's just trying to explore himself. Leave him alone.
More power to him. I love the lad.
And here we're talking all about trans representation in Yu Yu Hakusho. Meanwhile, we got an openly gay character.
Yeah. I guess we can skip over Miyuki once we get to her. We can just focus on Kuwabara, exploring his LGBT side.
Kuwabara is more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Yusuke's back. He's good.
He's back and Yeah, the next chapter is the what you people who watch the anime would recognize as the second half of chapter or episode 5. Yusuke's just kind of strolling around, enjoying his life, and he happens upon Kuwabara being kind of taken advantage of by some other punks. And he notices one of the leader guy, he's got some strange horns that only he can see. And he just kind of ignores it. Just like,
horns.
I've had a long day of being dead. I'm gonna ignore this for now.
Yeah. And then so Kuwabara shows up and is a little pussy bitch. The end.
Yep.
Turns out Kuwabara loves kittens.
Yeah. I mean, would you really expect anything else from this guy?
No.
He's a lovable little lad.
He loves kittens. He wants to protect his friends and make sure they don't lose their job. He loves
girls.
Yusuke. He likes Yusuke. Yeah. What a guy.
He's got a sword.
He does. Who knows what he does with it? But yeah.
Oh god. These guys have Kuwabara's kitty cat hostage, but eventually Yusuke joins the fray at the last second and is able to help turn the tide, save the cat. And eventually he chases down the leader guy and knocks him out. And out of his mouth crawls a little demon. The heck?
You're every other Tuesday. It's just what happens.
I can't believe this. This man orally gave birth to a little homunculus.
Was there like any kind of message or anything in this arc? I can't even like.
I think it's just like it's just kind of to bridge the gap. And like start up the whole spirit detective part of things. This is where Yusuke is given the job of spirit detective. All of the things that go bump in the night, any demons that are causing mischief in the human world, Yusuke is now in charge of fixing it, clearing them out.
He's now a spirit detective.
And he is not happy about it.
Yeah. To be honest, it's basically the same thing he was doing before, except now he just has a physical body.
Yeah, and he's got a punch.
He can punch people, yeah.
Yeah.
He can solve his problems with violence instead of actually like solving them. Although he did
Thank God.
He did do a lot of solving his problems with violence actually. Now that I think about it.
I mean, do what you love.
Yeah. What a boy.
What a mad lad. But yeah, Yusuke not being down for this spirit detective gig at all is a very good tone setter. Pretty much all of his missions are forced on him. He's a very reluctant hero. One of the many ways he goes against the grind, because around this time you had your Gokus and your Jotaros. Yeah, main protagonists that are all in to fight for justice or the joys of combat. Yusuke's just kind of forced strong-armed into this thing, and he's just like, all right, I'll do it, but I'm gonna bitch about it. And that's I'm glad.
Yeah.
I like these kinds of protagonists that are willing to call people on their bullshit, especially like their bosses.
Yeah, it's a nice change of pace from your typical little good boys.
Yeah.
So fucking asshole teacher over here. I think this is the same guy from chapter 1 who was being a dick to Yusuke.
There's 3 teachers we know. Takanaka, the little buck-toothed one, and then this guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
And he's also the same one that leads the zombies against Kaiko.
Yeah. The zombies. Who goes to fucking prison.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's something
serves him right for being a dickhole teacher.
That's something the anime skips over in the manga. After the Saint Beast stuff, Kuwabara tells Yusuke after he wakes up that the asshole teacher with the glasses is being grilled by the police over like like going on a rampage in the school.
Yeah. What a dickhole.
That's what he deserved. But yeah, this chapter starts out with Yusuke returning to school. Everybody's freaked out, and this Mr. Asshole, I forget what his name is. He's not too happy, so he wants to get rid of Yusuke again. So he decides to frame him for stealing a bunch of stuff. And this eventually gets interrupted by Koenma, who only Yusuke can see, to tell him of his first real mission. It's three sacred treasures themed after the three like Buddhist treasures. Or
What a coincidence. One of them is right there in front of them. It's that dragon pen thing.
yeah, it's the teacher's glasses. Grab them, Yusuke.
1 out of 3. What if that was it? That'd be so stupid.
That'd be kind of funny. I could see this story doing something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we start out the three artifacts of darkness arc. Koenma tells Yusuke about the three missing items and the three criminals that took them. And Yusuke's just like, I'm a little fucking busy here. I'm gonna get thrown out of school again. Oh, but he has a thing. He's got the first of his detective tools. That's something that we have a little flashback. Photon explaining. Yusuke's got a set of tools that's gonna help him do his spirit detective job that I'll never use.
Yeah, apparently he gets all these tools that he never uses.
There's apparently 7 of them, but I don't think we ever see all of them. They're used.
We see
here.
like 3, I think, in this section.
There's like 3 of them in this section, and I think they return early in the Chapter Black saga and then disappear again. And I don't think we ever see all 7.
Huh. Imagine if he had all 7. He would be so OP. He'd be able to defeat Majin Buu.
Why did he drop the multiplier ring? I feel like he could have kept that. That would have helped.
Yeah, you know.
I guess maybe it's like training wheels. I don't know. I just like magic items. That's something you'll learn about me. I just love the idea of like little special magical.
Yeah, they're cool.
So yeah, one of them's the psychic spyglass that can see through stuff, and he's used it to see that the teacher has the stuff on him, and he reveals it, and the teacher storms out. So Koenma's just like, okay, go find the things, and Yusuke's like, no, I want to beat the shit out of the teacher, but he can't, obviously. So Koenma instructs him on how he can do so without being seen. It's Spirit Gun. It's Yusuke's signature attack.
This is dumb as shit.
What do you mean?
Koenma's just like, yeah, why not? Just beat up this guy. Just beat the shit out of him. Meanwhile, he's supposed to be like, yeah, Yusuke, you gotta be a good person so you can not go to hell. Actually, you can just beat the shit out of this guy without anybody knowing. Here you go.
I mean, this guy deserves it. I'm sure Koenma knows that.
Bullshit. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
But I guess he had to learn the spirit gun somehow. So
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, spirit gun enters here. I don't know what it is about the spirit gun compared to something like the Kamehameha, but at least to me, it always looks so damn satisfying.
Because he's shooting a gun, and guns are cool.
Yeah, it's probably the pose. And
yeah,
the
that's
of, like,
it.
Being so concentrated.
Yeah.
It's just such a memorable pose. I
I
love
mean,
it.
Kamehameha is cool because it's got like the build up to it, but the Spirit Gun
Yeah,
it's like just one like quick move, and it's just cool on its own without having all the build up.
yeah. It's it's quick and it's no frills. It's quick, and it's like it's made for some serious damage, and that's Yusuke. It fits Yusuke.
Yep.
So yeah, Yusuke's on the move now. He's got his spirit gun. He's on the move looking for these three criminals, and he finds them very quickly. Thank God that of all of the human world, they wound up in his town.
Yeah, that's one thing that was weird. Like ev- Yusuke's like the spirit detective, and like everything is just and like all this
Of
stuff that's
Earth,
happening is
not of
like
not of just Japan, of
yeah
Earth.
of Earth, and like everything happens in his town. Like they keep
Yeah,
talking about the human world, but what they really mean is his town.
essentially.
Basically. It's weird.
Yeah,
Um
but that's I just chalk it up to trappings of the genre.
mhm.
Uh,
Anyways,
yeah, so
so
that's
he finds
we're getting
them.
yeah we're introduced to two of our main characters, Hiei and Kurama, and a throwaway character, Goki. He's our first focus.
No, he's not a throwaway character. What are you talking about?
You're right. He's so important and personable. I love the way he eat thing and be evil.
I love his very unique design.
I love his jeans,
I I I like um
his
yeah.
horns.
Yeah, I like it. I like. Good
I,
guy. Great
I like
character.
the way he pedophiles.
Ooh, good one.
I mean, that's really is kind of the vibe he gives off. What with only eating kids' souls, the way he creeps up on them.
Yes.
I'm sure.
I'd I'd
I'm
I'd rather
I'm like
not talk
ninety
about that.
percent. I'm like 90% sure that was intentional. But yeah. Anyway, Yusuke finds the criminals, and he finds them having a bit of a tiff. Kurama, the pretty one, he's ducking out. He is mad, and Goki's mad, and it looks like there's going to be a scuffle. But Yusuke shows up. Kurama leaves, and Hiei leaves, and Goki's going to kick the shit out of him, and he does.
Yeah, well, Yusuke initially beats the shit out of him, and then he is like, "Yeah, I'm actually an oni," and
Yeah,
he gets big.
he
And
gets a
yes,
he gets an introductory text box of sorts for explaining his demon type, his soul sucking demon thing. I wish
yes.
I wish they did more of these. I feel like
I feel like
they
this happens a
stop.
lot, doesn't it?
It does a lot. It does happen a good amount of times in the manga, but I feel like they eventually stop. At least once
Perhaps.
in the anime, they just never have them.
Yeah. Well, anime sucks. So,
Stupid.
anyways, Yusuke gets murdered. He dies a second time. Um,
It comes pretty close. Yeah, it's Botan that saves his ass.
yep. Which is so weird because like we spent the whole like first section of the story with Botan like not being able to do anything, and then now Botan's like in a physical body or something, and she can
Yeah,
do
she,
stuff.
yeah, she said she explains that she told Koema she'd make a much better detective's assistant with a physical body, so now she's got one.
Yeah. So she yeah, and then like later on she even like helps uh, Keiko and stuff, and
Yeah,
yeah. So that's kind of weird.
I don't think it's weird. It makes sense.
Yeah, oh, it makes sense. It's just like coming off of her being like a useless, well, not useless, but you like she can't physically do. things.
It's kind of a tag along of sorts.
Yeah, she was just sort of like the person to explain things for a while.
I guess, but I'm glad it's a change. I'm glad for. I'm glad she's sticking around,
Yeah,
finding
she's
ways,
good character.
adapting to the genre change.
Yeah.
She's fun, and yeah. But Atsuko changes a bit too. I forgot to mention this, but I always really enjoyed the scene of at the I think it's the start of the Artifacts of Darkness little arc of her
Yeah,
like
she's crying and shit.
yeah freaking out, like trying to wake Yusuke up, and he's just like, okay, I'm awake, what's up? And she's just like, she's all upset because she had a dream that he died again or something. And then it gets funny when Yusuke's like, she's done this every day for the past like week or so.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like, I just wanted to note it because it marks kind of a change for her, where she start like Yusuke dying the first time really like took it out of her, made her realize some shit, and we are seeing that in this arc how she acts. She's like changed her tune. She's much more of a parent to Yusuke, or at least trying to be. She's not really good at it, but she's trying to be a parent. And I
Except when
feel like
she's trying to get paid by pimps.
yeah, that's too.
Yeah.
That's true. That's definitely a canon thing. I feel like that was just notable to say because in the anime, she's just kind of like background noise from now on. She never really does anything, but in the manga, she, along with Keiko and Shizuru and Botan, end up going as spectators to the Dark Tournament, where in the anime, it's just Botan, Keiko, and Shizuru. Atsuko misses out on that. They just kind of cut her. It's odd. But then again, I don't. She'd probably just be another cheerleader to keep track of in the if they did have her, so I can kind of. It's just a change that I'm confused by, I guess, but I can kind of see where they're coming from a bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a thing that I wanted to mention. Anyway, Yusuke gets up and tries to go after Goki again because he wants to save the souls of the kids Goki's been eating before they're digested. So even though he's injured, he goes after Goki again. He's got the multiplier ring or whatever the fuck to bump up his spirit gun, which he didn't have last time because he wasted it on Teacher McDoucheface. And he gets his ass handed to him again. Good job, Yusuke.
Yay. Good
That's
job,
kind
Yusuke.
that's kind of a thing with a lot of Yusuke's fights in this first saga of the story. They're either just straight up like ass kickings, like all the filler demons, but between arriving at Tarukane's place and fighting the Tagoro brothers, like the Triad and all the nameless ones. Those ones are all just like quick ass kickings. But on the other end of the spectrum, every other fight is just an ass whooping on his part that he either like he just scrapes by or he kind of wins through luck. Like with Goki, he pulls a smart move, but he wouldn't have been able to come back for this round two if Botan hadn't saved him round one. PA, he wins through blind luck. Kurama, it's not a fight, but like he still survives thanks to blind luck. Kazamaru, Rando, those are all luck wins as well. Suzaku, he nearly dies. It takes Kuwabara giving him a life force transplant to make him survive. Taguro, the fight was thrown in his favor. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to take note of. It takes a while for Yusuke to really become somebody who can kind of fight like someone who can kind of just take things on reliably, I guess. So yeah, it's a quick fight, and Goki gets taken down in a way that is actually kind of smart. Like I said before, most of Yusuke's fights are either won immediately or like he gets his ass kicked and it's a little lucky.
Yeah.
But this is actually him kind of being smart.
Yeah, it's the good old shoot laser beams into people's mouths.
The big old stick a
Tactic.
big log of wood in his mouth.
It's good stuff.
It's good
Yeah.
times.
It's
So
yeah.
that's one down.
That is one down. There are two left to go.
Yeah,
They'll surely be as difficult as this one.
definitely. But the next one's not a fight. It's the one with Kurama.
Yes.
Dylan, tell me what you think of Kurama and this little story-ish.
Are well, Karama's a cool dude.
Yeah,
Yeah. I like
Togashi.
what?
I was gonna say Togashi likes to draw characters that kind of look androgynous, like
Oh
beyond
yeah.
pretty boys. He likes to draw effeminate boys. He's got Karapika and Hunter x Hunter, and Kurama is his example for Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yep, definitely. I like his hair. It's cool.
I like his hair.
I like his hair. But yeah, he's so basically the deal with him is he's not really in it for like he's not like Goki. He doesn't just want to eat the souls of children for some reason, but yeah. He wants to
wants to
save
save his mama,
his mother. Yes.
his human mother. He's actually a demon fox, a nine-tailed fox, and he was sealed himself inside a little baby.
Yes.
And he grew up in a ninja village.
Uh-huh. And then he defeated the moon god or something.
Oh, thank God.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, he was changed. His mother's love changed him, and now he's a good boy. And he's trying to save his mom.
Was he
sick.
ever like evil? I don't
Well,
know if
that's
that was established.
Yes, that's a thing. That's something I wanted to talk about. The anime kind of, I don't want to say skims necessarily, but some stuff is kind of skimmed in the anime adaptation. Like there's some extra information here in the manga that I was not expecting. It goes more into how Kurama changed. In the anime, it's more of a general thing. He says, like, I was just going to hide out in this human body until my strength recovered, and then I'd peace out. But my mother's love turned me into a good boy. That's pretty much all we get in the anime. But the manga kind of shows us the inciting incident of that turn, and also just kind of gives us more details. Like in the manga, it's mentioned that like his mom's like dating a new guy, and we actually see him.
Yeah.
In the anime, he's missing until the mom and this guy eventually get married between the second to last and last arc.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that actually this I wouldn't call this necessarily like a plot line, but this does actually
It's
evolve
just a neat little thing that like shows time has passed and stuff.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. And yeah, in the manga there's a little flashback showing how this change occurred. Kurama was just kind of like hanging out, not really noticing any changes within himself about how he felt towards these humans. But one day when he was a kid, he like fell off a stool after dropping a bowl, and he was gonna like hit his head on the broken glass below, and his mom did like a diving save, and like ended up like
she is good.
She risked her neck for him, and she ends up with like a bunch of bloody cuts. Yeah, a bunch of scars on her wrist that Yusuke actually is able to notice when he meets her in the hospital bed. And Kurama's like, yeah, that's what made me realize how much I'd grown attached to these people. And once my strength was recovered, I couldn't leave anymore. I wanted to take care of my mother.
Yeah, he grew attached to his worldly connections, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of wish the anime had kept this little flashback of sorts. It was
Yeah,
very neat. It was nice.
that's strange. I feel like the anime cuts out the best parts
Yeah,
and just gets to
I,
the fights.
I mean this. I mean that they kept it mostly intact. This short story with Karama, but yeah, they did kind of skim a little bit.
Yeah. Hmm.
It, they kind of reverse course and go out of their way to like expand some stuff once we get to like the Dark Tournament and the Chapter
All right.
Black stuff.
Well, yeah, I'd imagine considering how long the anime is compared to like how long those sections of the manga are, like in comparison to the rest of the series.
It's not like a crazy amount of filler, but they do kind of stretch certain stuff
Yeah.
out. Like instead of like you'd think like 2 chapters per episode, like 30 episodes of Dark Tournament because there's 60 of the
Mm-hmm.
manga, but it's actually 40 episodes.
Yeah. Um.
Um, oh yeah, so we have the whole scene with Kurama trying to give his life using his treasure. I forget what the manga calls it, so I'll just call it what the book
The
called it: the Forlorn
mirror,
Hope.
the mirror
Yeah,
thing, whatever it
the
is.
the mirror of funny.
The mirror of something.
Yeah, Rama tries to give his life, but Yusuke steps in, and what he demands kind of differs based on translation and medium. In some versions I've seen, Yusuke specifically says like, "Take half of my life along with Kurama's, so neither of us die." Where in some versions he says, "Take my life instead of Kurama's."
Really?
Yeah,
That sounds okay.
I
Well,
mean, yeah, his reasoning is the same in both versions. He's basically
yeah, he
taking what
wants.
he learned. He's taking what he learned from chapter one about like you can't just leave people behind. They'll be hurt and miss you, and he's like specifically remembering his mom. But yeah, and I'm glad because in the versions that where he says take my life instead, he kind of comments after like he comments after he's like, that was kind of dumb actually. Sure, Karama's mom wouldn't be sad, but my mom would be sad. I didn't really think of that. Moton's just like, you're an idiot.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, so then maybe that was like the intention. Like,
maybe.
yeah, that's so weird.
I
Well, I
don't
guess
know.
it makes sense for Yusuke because he's like, he just does so many things without thinking.
Yeah,
That's
he's
like his thing.
impulsive. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's
Uh,
also stupid because he could just done you know, what
right.
happened.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah. So yeah,
so
that's the Karama
Kurama's good.
story.
Yusuke's
And
got the mirror thing now,
yeah,
whatever it's called.
and now we move on to Hiei, which is
Yeah.
I think his fight is going to be the longest so far because it's 2 whole chapters.
Oh
Ooh,
my
breaking some new ground.
God.
Yeah. Uh, Shout out to Botan's healing powers that are only around for this part of the arc and never return.
Yeah, she can heal people apparently. Well, I guess maybe it was implied earlier on that the reason why Yusuke was healing so quickly was because Botan was healing him. At the time, I just thought he had like an increased healing factor due to like his spirit powers,
That's true.
but it
That's
makes
fair.
sense if
But
it's Botan doing it.
as far as I know, she never uses them again, though.
Yeah.
Same with Genkai. It's mentioned that she
Yeah.
healed Kuwabara's arms, and
Well, she
I don't think she
specifically
ever.
said that that she doesn't like to do that because that's not like the intended purpose of the ability.
Ah.
At least in the
Yeah.
translation that I read.
Yeah. Yeah, the translation you read probably like implied Genkai as some like serial killer or
Yeah,
a
something like
prostitute.
that. Well,
He's
we do know that uh his mom is a
Genkai hangs with the
prostitute.
pimps. Yes.
Yes, yes. This is fact.
Yeah. The only consistent white mage of the series is Yukina, I think.
Hmm.
Maybe Kurama. Does he heal? I forget.
Um,
Anyway, Hiei.
doesn't sound like a nine-tail fox ability.
Yeah, you're right. He should be throwing out Rasengans.
Yeah, exactly. And
Uh,
windy Rasengans for some reason.
Windy?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Naruto does wind, whatever.
Yes. Anyways,
Yeah, Hiei.
Hiei is here.
He is here, and he's like a cackling bastard.
Yeah, he's just like in this arc, he's just like evil, like really evil.
Yeah, and like open, like gloating and laughing and
Yeah.
smirking.
It's so weird because he
It's
does such like a 180.
Yeah, you can see Togashi setting up for Kurama to return as a good guy from the start. He's distant. He's immediately distancing himself from Hiei and Goki. He knows general personality and motivations and backstory now. He and Yusuke bond. It's mentioned at the start of the Hiei first chapter of the Hiei one that he might get parole, but like Hiei, it's known that Togashi introduced Hiei without really knowing if he'd come back or not, but he made it so that Hiei became one of the main cast members because he was popular, I guess, during the Genkai tournament. People were writing in like, "Hey, is Hiei gonna come back? That guy was cool."
Hmm.
And so yeah,
I think
you
it's
can.
mostly the evil eye. People like it.
It might be, yeah. It is fucking cool. The
Yes.
Jigan, I love it.
Oh yeah, speaking
Everybody,
of the Jagan, in the translation I read, it was just called the Jagan, and there were like a lot of other things where they could have used the English term, but they used the Japanese term, like the human world was called Ningenkai and stuff. And I found it really weird because I was like, wow, I thought at this time translations prioritized translating things directly into English instead of keeping Japanese terms. That's
yeah,
really weird.
you were reading somebody's cocaine-addled brain ramblings.
Yeah, so I should
Yeah.
have I should have been like, okay, well, yeah,
uh,
this isn't the official translation now, is it?
yeah. So, yeah. So, EA, you can really tell in his first outings that Togashi both didn't really think about like what he'd be like if he came back, because he's acting way different. He acts like a typical villain. He doesn't have any deeper personality noticeable. He has his quote unquote true form that Togashi like doubled back on. It never shows up again in the manga.
Really?
Yeah, it only ever shows up once in a one of the two like serial movies very briefly, and that's it. It's just something that's
That's
forgotten.
that
And he
what?
and he has he has I think it's retcon to be like a special another power of the Jagan,
Yeah.
because that's another thing that's retconned. It's never implied that his Jagan eye is like unnatural here. We learn later that it's like an implant.
Yeah. Well,
And
that was
yeah,
kind of implied like in some of the later arcs that I read that we went
right.
through.
Yeah, but here it's nothing.
Yeah, it's
It's not
yeah, it's
brought
not
up.
very clear at all what
Yeah,
exactly it is.
and it's got a lot more powers that never come back, like that true form and his quote unquote binding spell.
Mm-hmm.
Those aren't anything that really come back. All the Dragon is really used for in the future is like far sight, telepathy, stuff like that, and providing him a way to use his future super epic, great awesomeness attack of sorts. Do you
I
know what
see.
his attack is?
No.
Do you
Uh,
want me to tell you? Do you want me
the
to tell you the name?
1,000 Years of Death?
It's edgier.
I don't know. Uh,
Think of think of the stupidest, edgiest name that like a 13-year-old who really watches like Naruto and
uh,
Bleach and like,
bl-
Kingdom Hearts, and what would he think is the coolest name ever?
Blackened Abyss Sword of Death.
Close. It's called Dragon of the Darkness Flame.
Oh my god. I love it.
Yeah. I remember Kurama's line when he sees it. He says he's going to attempt the darkness technique, and I just thought, like, man, If I showed this to a 12-year-old, they would be like, "What's the darkness technique?" But me, as a 22-year-old fat man, I'm just like, "Oh boy, the darkness of the shadows of the demon realm. Whoa!
I
Don't
love it.
catch yourself on that edge, man."
It's great. It's good
EA,
stuff.
EA is a real edgy bastard, but like it feels earned with him. Can I just talk a bit about Hiei for a
Are you
second here?
but but his entire clan didn't get murdered by his brother. How can you say that?
Yeah, that's fair. No, but this is why I think it worked. Like, okay, we'll compare him to Sasuke since we're on that topic, and
Yes.
it's an apt comparison. With I with Sasuke, the edginess and all like the brooding and stuff like that, all the darkness, so it doesn't work to me because the story is taking it all too seriously and taking him too seriously. When he's talking about being steeped in darkness, oh the flames of my hatred, everybody is just like, oh that's scary. Oh, this guy, he's really out there. He's so powerful. And like all the boys in his class are like, damn it, that's Sasuke. I gotta admit he's cool, even though he's too edgy. And all the girls are like, oh Sasuke, you're making me so fucking moist. Everybody's too reverent of him, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's a problem with a lot of edgy characters. With Hiei, it works because of the story that he's in and the characters he's around. None of these characters are really giving Hiei any reverence, even when he's like cutting down people before they can even see, or busting out Dragon of the Darkness Flame. They just go right back to like shitting on him immediately after. He can do all that stuff, and then he comes back and he is just like it, or Yusuke is just like, "Hey, good job, short stuff. Yeah, nice work, you little fucking prick."
All right.
Even the weakest of the main quartet, Kuwabara, is just always just digging on Hiei, and they just have this little back and forth with no respect. Nobody respects Hiei, and that's why it works. That's why he's allowed to be edgy as a treat.
Interesting.
And that's every single thought I have on Hiei. Not early Hiei, because he's nothing. He's just the villain.
He's just a bad boy.
Yep. Oh yeah, Keiko's back to being a damsel in distress in this arc. Once again, unconscious the
Yeah.
entire time.
Um. Yeah.
You seemed annoyed. Was this the part where you were like, is Keiko gonna be the fucking damsel again?
No, I would. The what
Suzaku.
the zombie. Or yeah, Suzaku. That's when I
Oh,
like
okay.
started to get annoyed. But then once I realized what it was actually going on, that specific instance was pretty good.
Right.
But this, I mean, yeah,
This is
it
just,
hasn't gotten old yet.
yeah. That's fair. Yeah. So yeah, he. This is a fun little fight. It's got a nice little element of like a timer with Keiko being turned into a demon, and he seems the first villain that's really out of Yusuke's league. Goki was a brute, but Yusuke was just still able to
Yeah.
outthink him
Like
and outright
at least
win.
at the start of their fight, like Yusuke kind of like kicked his ass until he powered up, and like he still seemed within like the realm of like possibility of like overcoming.
Yeah,
But
but
Hiei
once
is like on a completely different level.
pretty much, yeah. Even here at his like weakest in the series, he is still pretty competent.
Yeah.
And once
And
again,
like even at the end, like Yusuke he doesn't win by overpowering him. He uses like a combination of dumb luck and strategy.
yeah, exactly, yeah. That's what I was talking about before. Whenever Yusuke's in over his head in like this first saga, he wins more often than not through dumb luck.
Yeah. Because he's still kind of like trying to find his way in the world and like really
Yeah,
establish what his power set is,
just getting
and
used to things.
yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the whole Artifacts of Darkness arc. And unless you have anything more to say on it, we can move on to the Genkai tournament.
Nope. I have nothing to say.
Alrighty, and we're moving on. Yusuke is on a mission undercover in Genkai's tournaments of finding a successor, looking for a demon named Rando. And hey, Kuwabara's back.
Yeah, he's just going to a tournament.
He's
He
chilling.
he wants to learn more spirit things, I guess.
Well, no, his initial goal was to ask Genkai to turn down his spiritual awareness because it was messing with him. And then as soon as the tournament starts, he just kind of forgets that to the point where even Togashi makes all these little like notes in the margins between panels, commenting on what's going on. Like with Kuwabara, he starts getting into the tournament, and Togashi has like a little marking underneath the panel that's just like, "Weren't you here for something else, Kuwabara?"
Oh yeah,
It,
I remember
it's like
that.
it's like reading an old fanfic where the writer is like talking out of character to the characters. It's really weird. It's something I haven't seen a lot.
It's cool.
It made me
I
laugh.
like it.
You know, you know what I don't think you like? All of the fucking random panels wasted on random drawings.
Yeah, there's like it's so weird. Like in the middle of like a chapter, there'll just be like a sidebar like panel of just like a character drawing, nothing going on. It's just randomly thrown in. And at the end of the chapter, there's another one like just taking up a whole page, but I'd imagine that's probably just um like a
Yeah,
volume thing.
yeah,
But
that's like a volume thing,
yeah,
but like, just like
it's just
early on, it's like a
annoying.
side panel, but like later chapters, like during this Four Saint Beast stuff or the Rescue Yutina stuff, it'll just be like usually later in the chapter, it'll just be like a random panel, and it's just like a drawing of like a random cute girl or like little chibis or
Yeah.
something.
Like one time there was like a bunny girl and for no reason.
Yeah.
There was actually one time it showed someone's like sister that
Oh
who
yeah, there was
Botan's
one,
sister who like never shows up in the series, but he drew her anyways,
right,
which
and
that
there
was
was
cool, I
one
guess.
early on that was a character profile. It was a character profile for Keiko. And
Yeah.
it listed her hobbies. Dylan, tell the audience what Keiko's hobbies are
Um
apparently.
it's well it's like cooking and like cleaning and stuff like that or something.
Yes.
Actually, I have it right here. Cooking and cleaning. That's it. Yeah.
That those are her hobbies.
Yeah. Great
Femo-
hobbies.
Femoids be like.
I like cooking and cleaning. Or even worse, Yusuke cooking and cleaning. That would be even worse.
I would like if Yusuke cooked and cleaned. You should do that more.
Oh yeah, he should.
I
Yeah.
that should have been how the series ends. I know one of like the last
Yeah.
chapters show Yusuke grown up. It should have been Keiko as like the fucking like mayor of the town or like the
Yeah,
fucking
and
district
Yusuke's
attorney.
like a stay-at-home
Yusuke,
dad.
yeah, Yusuke's her fucking house husband.
Yeah.
That would have been better. That's my headcanon on how things end.
Yes. I like it.
Uh, oh yeah, the Genkai tournaments. I I it's kind of it's kind of forgettable. Of the three main tournaments across the series, this one I think is probably the most forgettable. And
Yeah.
I think it comes down to the other characters. Like
Yeah, like none of the characters that show up like are memorable at all. Not even like
yeah,
Rondo.
yeah, exactly. Like the Genkai tournament itself isn't too important. It's more just a means to an end for certain plot points.
Yeah.
So I can respect how quickly Togashi's going through it. He knows there's not much to going on except like to get Yusuke some training, so he's not dwelling on it. And but like it's still kind of just bare bare bones in terms of the other characters. you can really feel it when the anime like slows it down. Or these episodes are always a slog to get through when I rewatch, and it's all because of the characters. Nobody besides the main
Yusuke,
characters
Kobara,
are.
and Genkai. That's
Yeah,
oh yeah.
they're the only like memorable characters that are around, even including Rando. If I'm
Yeah.
being nice, maybe Kazamaru, but nah.
I don't
I
even
think
know who that is.
the ninja.
Oh, the ninja guy who uses
Yeah,
wrestling moves.
yeah, that's and I'd say he's only really memorable because he seems like just like such a template for Hanzo from the Hunter exam. This whole thing kind of feels like the Hunter exam on this reread.
Kinda, yeah.
Because like the Dark Tournament and the last tournament, those are all just like regular ass tournaments. But like this, we have some prelims.
Yeah.
We have get the whole lottery part, which I always think is really smart, and
It's
then
funny.
the arcade games, and then the run through the forest, and those are all just like the little games that have little like they're meant to kind of weed things out and try to pinpoint people's strengths, and it like it's if maybe if it had gone on for a little bit longer, it would have been more memorable. But it's all fairly like memorable, I
Yeah.
guess.
I
And
f-
it just the variety makes me think of the Hunter's exam from Hunter x Hunter. It feels like almost like a template for what would become that.
mhm. I feel like this is like very like solidly like I think the primary inspiration for the tuning exams in Naruto. Cuz
Oh
like
yeah,
cuz like you know, you have the two like non-tournament sections at the beginning, and then you have tournament. Um, one of those sections was like going through a forest and everything. Uh, and then like you end the tournament with like fighting like a
an
big
actual
bad guy,
bracket.
and well, an actual bracket, and then the final fight is like against like a big bad guy.
I think I think it's more that this inspired the Hunter exam, which that
Well,
inspired
yes,
the
but
tuning
all
exams.
I think like this more directly inspired the tuning exams than the Hunter exam did to the tuning exams. But like there's obviously elements of both.
Yeah, there's definitely like we just compared Hiei and Sasuke, but like you can also see a lot of Kurapika in Sasuke. I
Hmm.
think the Naruto guy is just a big fan of Togashi's work in general, as am
Yeah.
I.
Yeah,
What's his
definitely.
name again? Mr. Naruto.
Kishimoto.
That guy. That
Yeah.
guy. That guy who hates the Whammons.
Implying we don't all hate the Whammons.
Yeah, that's true. Check out Keiko's character profile, and you'll see what we mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um yeah, so anyways, they uh well, okay, so the first thing they do is the lottery, right?
Right.
I think it's pretty cool how like uh she never like actually explains it, so everybody's just fucking pissed off that like
Yeah.
this like tournament to like decide who's the best is kicked off by like seemingly completely random just
Yeah.
yeah.
It's fun. Genkai's a lot of fun here,
It's
especially in
great.
the manga, because there's a joke that the anime cut that made me laugh really hard. After the whole forest section, there's a joke that Genkai's like, "Okay, now it's time for the fourth round," and she pauses and she's like, "I didn't think I'd actually have to use a fourth round. I'll have to come up with
Oh
something."
yeah, yeah. That
Like
was good.
she had to think of the tournament, like the battle bracket on just like on the fly because she didn't think this far ahead.
I
I love
I
that.
I really like that like she didn't originally intend for there to even be a tournament, and it's like a tournament arc, so it like goes completely against your expectations. Like
Yeah,
she it really like makes you feel like she doesn't really care that much about like what your actual like combat like prowess is. She's more interested in um like
potential.
your potential. And yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
she kind of just resorted to this at the end because she had to.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
As she says near the end, this is all about passing on her techniques no matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the crux of the whole Genkai plotline that'll go into the Dark Tournament, about passing on to the next generation and trying to impart lessons and like trying to lead them on the correct path.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need to see what's the name of this guy.
What guy?
It doesn't even say his name. The weird Chinese looking guy.
Shinpo, the most important character.
That's his name in the translation I've read. Oh my god. It was like China person or something like that. That was his name.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan dipped into an alternate reality and read
Yeah.
some bizarro Yu Yu Hakusho. They definitely like everybody has like these little epithets under their names in the manga, and I the one for Chinpo is Mystery Man from China.
Mystery
I
Man
think,
from there we go.
yeah.
Yeah. That's
Something.
that is.
You'll be reading the official translation for the Dark Tournament.
I
Right?
guess I will be.
Okay.
Although I am kind of tempted because that is this is
Yeah,
funny.
it is
This is
tempting.
very funny.
Maybe later for a laugh. Yeah.
Yeah.
After the lottery is the arcade.
That was an interesting one.
Yeah. What are
Like
Tetris and asteroids meant to test? Those are just for fun. Genkai is a gamer. That's a plot point that comes back.
Yeah, I
with
found
some
that
level
really
of
weird.
importance.
Like she's old as shit, but she loves the game.
Yeah. She's just
Damn.
she's a hermit, but she's just like hanging out.
I wonder if she has
Got
a
some
G
amenity.
Fuel sponsorship.
Definitely. This tournament is sponsored by G Fuel.
Great.
Like that.
Anyways, I mean, I don't really have anything else to talk about with this arc at all.
Yeah. So yeah, and after that is the forest of death, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this is where that bat guy is, who
Yeah.
looks like completely different in the manga from the anime.
Aldoc.
In the manga, he looks like a funny little comical anime man.
It looks like a little like cartoonish Dracula.
Yes. Yeah, he looks kind of like the Frankenstein android from Dragon Ball.
Oh,
I feel like
in the same vein of like a very cartoony.
Yeah, like in that
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the anime, they made him just like a gross, actually monstrous-looking bat guy.
Yeah.
And actually gave him a fight. In the manga, it's just like 2 panels.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's all that stuff. And after presumably like 15 minutes of Genkai puttering around, like fourth phase. We move on to the actual like fighting part of the tournament in a dark room.
Oh my.
It's based around spiritual awareness. And they do like fucking 3 fights per chapter. It's so fucking fast.
I'm happy with that because
Yeah. I would not want to dwell too long on this tournament with these characters, as we've mentioned.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Kuwabara learns how to freaking make a sword with his spiritual energy.
That's right. This is where Kuwabara's spirit sword comes in.
That was not expected.
You didn't expect that?
No, he doesn't seem like the sword type. He seems more like the just punch with overwhelming physical strength and just somehow knock someone out type.
That is his general guiding philosophy to fighting. But it does kind of fit him in my view, and I like that it creates the sort of dynamic between Yusuke and Kuwabara's main weapons. Kuwabara, despite being like a street punk, he's got this like he's got his code. He's got his code of honor and like chivalry. He doesn't fight girls. He doesn't kick people when they're down. All that stuff. So he gets a sword, sort of like a samurai or a knight.
Yeah.
And then you have the more streetwise and edgy Yusuke with a gun.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah,
It's pretty
it's a
cool.
fun dichotomy. Fun dichotomy between our two little boys. Yeah, and you know that's one of the only two like quarterfinals that matter. The other's Yusuke's, and he fights Mr. Helmet Karate or whatever the fuck is it. I don't care what his name is. I don't care about this man. All that really like matters about is that Yusuke gets to be smart in the manga, where in the anime it's once again kind of like a lucky win for him. Because
pretty
in the manga, because he smokes, it's his cigarette that he slips into the guy's gi to let him find him. Where in the anime, it's Genkai's cig that she like throws out of annoyance at Yusuke, and he just happens to notice it partway through. So if she didn't throw that, he probably would have lost and wins through luck.
Yeah.
I'm
Also,
fine
I
with
was wrong. This is the guy who uses wrestling moves, even though he's just like a martial artist.
Right.
That was
Yeah.
weird.
And
He's supposed to be he's supposed to have like this like incredible knowledge of martial arts, and he just uses like WWE moves.
That's fun. Well, he is a little bit fun. If I was gonna be nice and extend the like anybody who's memorable classification beyond maybe Rando and maybe Kazemaru, it would be him, since he's Yusuke's opponent, and he's got the helmet and he does the dumb wrestling moves instead of actual karate.
Yeah.
So yeah, semifinals time. We move straight from that into Yusuke's second bout, which is with Kazemaru the Ninja, and he's got like I think this is the only other person we see in the series besides Yusuke and Rando who copies Yusuke actually using a spirit gun.
Yeah. That's
But with
weird
him,
because like that was like a like Koenma taught him that. So I like originally I thought that was just like a basic move that like pretty much everybody could do at first.
yeah. I assume that too from like the way he spoke
Yeah.
about it.
Like you would think like if it's supposed to be Yusuke's signature move, wouldn't it be like something that he like came up with on his own or something? But he's taught it by this guy who is like one of the head guys in the spirit world.
Hmm.
So I don't
Sensu
know.
do a spirit gun? I forget.
Who?
But yeah,
Oh, someone later.
you'll figure it out later. But yeah, that Yusuke is pretty much like he's outclassed enough that he pretty much gives up at one point and just tries for like a suicide attack. He's got exploding target lock on shurikens on him at one point. He just tries to like, okay, I'm stuck. I'll try and make this a double kill. He tries to pass the buck to Kuwabara essentially, and he wins by luck. He just falls into a swamp, and he just like
He falls into Well, it was like established that they were like fighting in like swampland earlier.
right,
But
but like
it's just weird that he just
he didn't
randomly
plan
falls
it.
down, yeah.
Yeah, it's just luck. That's kind of how all of these are playing out,
Mm-hmm.
and how he wins. But yeah, then we move on to Kuwabara versus Shaolin or Shorin. And because he's the last one left, Yusuke and Botan. Oh yeah, Botan's here.
Yeah, she just shows up.
He just kind of arrives and nobody questions it.
Okay, well, it's Botan, so whatever.
The
I'm
anime
happy.
Yeah. The anime actually adds a scene of her like arriving and coming inside. And you know what they also added? They added that Kuwabara is in love with her.
What?
Yeah, he when she first arrives, Kuwabara follows Yusuke outside and see what's going on. And he sees Botan, and after he reams out Yusuke, he's like, "And as for you," and like there's like a beat, and then
What?
Kuwabara gets all blushy, and he grabs her hand and he's like, "Pretty lady, please marry me."
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's cute, and it doesn't last. He
Yeah.
pretty much he pretty much gives up on that after the Saint Beast arc because he now he has the hots for Yukina.
Yeah.
But that is now a thing that's present here and present during the Saint Beast arc.
Okay then.
Kuwabara is it's cute. Kuwabara is like a hopeless romantic, and it's really fun.
Yeah, who would want to marry that dude?
Uh, Apparently Yukina,
Ah.
or maybe not. I don't know. I'll talk more about how weird their relationship is in the Dark Tournament episode.
Hmm.
But yeah, Kuwabara Kuwabara is gonna fight Shorin or Shaolin, whatever their translation says,
I don't know.
and Yusuke and Botan are just like, okay, he's the only one left. It must be Rando, and well, yeah, they're completely correct.
Yeah.
This isn't a big twist arc, you know.
Yeah, honestly, as soon as I saw the bracket, I was like, yeah, he's definitely gonna be on Kuwabara's side of the bracket because so that Yusuke could fight him at the end, and yeah, so it
Right.
was just painfully obvious.
Yeah. Not an arc built around twists.
Yes.
And Rando's got pretty much no personality. That's kind of a that's kind of a running theme with a lot of these villains until we get to like the Taguros and the Dark Tournament and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But for a throwaway villain, I still enjoy Rando's design. I feel like it's uh
I don't even remember what he looks like if
he
like
looks like a
in his true
guy and he's
form.
got like a spider looking thing on his face and he's got that long hair. I think this little weird tattoo on his face is what makes it memorable to me. But
Oh, yeah.
beyond the design, I feel like he at least lives up to the build up of like having all of these powers too. Like we obviously can't see all of them. There's like 100. We can't see all of them in a timely manner, but he uses a good amount of them and even seems to learn the spirit gun on the fly. So I feel like he kind of lives up to the whole, oh, he's got so many techniques.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this kind of person would have been much better suited for like a later arc or like a final villain or something like that. Like a guy who has killed so many like spirit arts users and collected all their abilities and who looks like fucking that. He looks like very much more of like a climactic villain
Right.
than just
Yeah.
some random like, villain of the week kind of dude.
It does seem that way. You know something? There's another character like this in the Dark Tournament who I've always thought like I like that character a lot more than
Hmm.
this guy. Like if Togashi had remembered, he could have easily made that character Rando back again with like more stuff. Like I feel like that might have added something to him. But as is, yeah, he's just kind of like a guy with a lot of potential, but he's just kind of like a throwaway villain of the week.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, it's still fairly fun fight. There's a lot of fun little shake-ups like the demon fish bit. It's not just like bam 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 punch 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 punch. Okay, we're done.
Yeah. I feel like a huge like um pattern that's kind of sort of established here. I don't think it happened too much before now, but like even like like in the later arcs, like after this, the next couple arcs, um, it's kind of like a pattern of Yusuke just getting his ass handed to him in a fight, like so hard, and like going through a whole bunch of different fights and keep accruing more and more damage, and so it just seems always seems so impossible for him to like overcome like his opponent. And then he ends up getting like some sort of rage boost or something and
I
winning.
would. Hmm, I
That's another
wouldn't.
thing that's like very similar to Dragon Ball, I think.
Yeah, it's like a classic shonen thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's something that like it kind of shows itself in a few different ways, but like the ways it happens get more different as they in the examples I can think of from the Dark tournament. I can remember something like that happening in round two, but it's more like it's something that's kind of built up. Obviously, in the final round, something like that is going down, but like it's also
Hmm.
had some sort of build up, and there's like a trigger to it, all that kind of stuff. I feel like here it's just like another way of helping Yusuke take on opponents that he probably shouldn't be able to beat because he's still kind of untrained, not still getting used to
Yeah. Again,
things.
like we were talking about, he solves a lot of his problems by strategy and dumb luck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Uh, but yeah, this fight is fairly good. I'd be surprised if somebody told me it was their favorite in the series. But if it was listed in somebody's like top 10 or maybe even top 5, I don't think I'd really bat an eye at it. I think it's pretty
Yeah, it's
enjoyable
cool.
for at least for an
I
early
like
one.
the going underground bit because it's reminds me of Naruto versus Neji.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the end of the Genkai tournament, and it leads into a little. We don't see any of the training, but Yusuke gets trained by Genkai. For how long though? That's different in every version, actually.
I thought it was just
I
for like summer vacation, which is like 2 weeks.
it's I so I checked English translation of the manga. I checked the subbed anime, and I checked the dubbed anime. The subbed anime, the well, I'll start the manga. The manga says 2 weeks. That's how long it lasts
Hmm.
for in the manga. So I'm gonna assume that's the canon. In the subtitled anime, Yusuke's mom says he's gone for a month, so twice as long.
Okay.
And in the dubbed anime, it's 6 months.
What?
It's yeah. I
That is so weird.
They had a lot of freedom with the dub, and most of the time it's I think for the better. But in a time like this, it's like there is no way 6 months
Why?
passed and nobody's wondering like, is he dead again?
Yeah, I mean, like there was like a thing where Keiko was like, "Where have you been all this time?" But I mean, if it was 6 months, then it would have been way more serious than that.
Yeah, he probably that like Keiko and Kuwabara probably moved on to another school year.
Yeah.
I or no, maybe Yusuke would have definitely had to like do the school year over again
Y-
starting next
Yeah,
year.
it wouldn't have been another school year, but yeah, definitely. Well, I'm surprised he doesn't already have to redo any school years. That
That's
I
true.
don't
Yeah,
understand.
I don't know if he even graduates middle school in the manga. I know we like see what he makes of himself, but I haven't read it, so I don't know if he ever like graduates even middle school.
I mean, it's possible he graduates, but I don't think he ever goes on to high school.
Nah,
Probably
uh,
not.
it's not a it's not a necessary thing in Japanese.
Yeah.
So oh yeah, so very the manga is very quick to get into the next arc. We have 2 pages with Keiko and Yusuke reuniting, and like a fourth of a page of Yusuke talking to Kuwabara. Keiko's just gone, by the way. In the I burped. in the anime, they extend this whole section so like Keiko's hanging out with Yusuke and Kuwabara, and like they're gonna hang out and stuff, and they're gonna do plans, and that gets interrupted. In the manga, it's like it takes 3 pages for us to get to Yusuke and Kuwabara fighting the zombified teenagers. It's very wasting no time. And
Mm-hmm.
that's especially true because the manga even skips right from Botan telling Yusuke and Kuwabara about this mission, and like in the space of a page turn, we've skipped ahead to Yusuke and Kuwabara outside of Maze Castle.
Yeah, they just like go on this grand adventure, like they travel like to another dimension or some bullshit,
Yeah,
and
and
it's just
they just they just skip that. Even Togashi, he does another one of his little fucking fanfic notes, and it's like, "How's that for a quick jump cut?" Like
what
even
the
he knows, like, yeah, we just cut that shit.
I guess he just didn't want to deal with it.
I guess. Do you want to know? It's not really that crazy, but like this is how the anime shows that apparently Spirit World's made a hole in the barrier around the demon city, and it's like in like a basement of an abandoned building. Otan lifts a little tile, and I guess there's like a portal underneath, and
Okay.
Yusuke and Kuwabara just gotta jump through that. That's also when she gives Yusuke the little compact looking communication device that shows up just once in the manga, but in the anime, after every single Saint Beast is beaten, Botan's just like calling, like, Yusuke, give me an update. Oh, we just beat another
Hmm.
Saint Beast. Okay, go faster.
I feel like in the manga, it's like implied that they did go on like a journey or something to get there.
I
I
guess I
don't
don't
I
really
don't
know how
know
you can
though.
take anything from it. It's literally just a smash cut. Like, okay, let's go.
I'm
Okay, we're here.
I'm probably just wrong.
Yeah, I don't.
Also, it could be translations.
You got yeah.
Oh, it
You
says
got to
2 hours later, Urameshi and Kobar scope out the enemy base.
yeah.
Huh.
It's so fast. Probably because I'm gonna guess it's because Kogashi's trying to get to the big reveal at the end of this chapter after Yusuke and Kuwabara are attacked by a bunch of fucking Jawas.
Yep.
Um, they're saved by Hiei and Kurama. They're back. They're back and they're helping out.
Oh my god.
Hiei has now that he's turned good, he has shifted into his more notable subdued personality, and since the his art style has changed a bit too. He's looking a lot softer in the face. Also,
Yeah, definitely.
he's also got a weird reason for being here. In the anime, it's just the same as Kurama. It's time. He's getting time off for good behavior, doing community service of sorts. In the manga, he says he's there because he wants the Saint Beast's quote unquote treasure and weapons.
What? I
This goes nowhere.
in in the version I read, it was the same as Kurama.
Oh, then maybe Viz is just acting weird.
Wait, what? He said Kurama says we might even earn pardons. Wait. Oh,
Yeah, it's
okay. No, no. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Never mind.
right
Sorry.
after that.
I was misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Maybe it did say this in the in what I read and I just didn't understand or something. I don't know. Um
In your version, it was probably like, I'm just here to fuck all the bitches in Maze Castle.
yeah,
Like your
definitely.
mom, your Meshi.
That was definitely it.
Yeah, that's the version you read. Weird fucking version. So yeah, wasting no time. We're heading right into Maze Castle, and it's mostly just fight after fight. But we have a little fun little thing here with the Gate of Betrayal, and it's a cute little thing. It's mainly just there so we can see that EA is going to be kind of a team player here, but it's a fun little trap.
Mm-hmm.
This whole little section it's kind of getting us used to the dynamic of sorts, the interplay between the four leads, which is one of the strongest points of the whole series in my view. So I'm glad we're getting time to really show it.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
know, yeah, and yeah, we just moved from there straight into our first fight, which is Kurama against the first of the Saint Beasts, and that's Genbu, who is the whole Saint Beasts thing is that they're based off the four
Hmm.
main um, animal deities of Chinese mythology: turtle, tiger, dragon, and phoenix.
Yep.
And Genbu is
Turtle.
Genbu's the Genbu's the turtle, and in my opinion, the only real like interesting design of the Saint Beasts, and the only one with real interesting powers.
Yeah,
Still,
yeah, definitely. I could see that.
still no personality though. None of these guys do.
Yeah, of
Uh,
course not. I mean, at
just
least they're not taken off screen, so or like in two panels, so that's great.
yeah, yeah. They all get at least like
Like a
a
chapter,
yeah,
at least.
maybe maybe not Serio.
Uh, yeah, I don't Serio was quick. Um, I like how they're just they're doing like one-on-one fights, but they're like the other people are just like standing back. They're not like I'll hold them off. You move on ahead like in Naruto.
Right? They're
They're
sticking
just
around.
they're just chilling,
They're just hanging out.
which is kind of weird. One because um they're on a time limit and well that's really it. They're just on a time limit. So
Yeah, but
it's weird.
I guess it's just like show of confidence. You know, maybe.
Well, wouldn't it be like a show of non-confidence because they're there if something goes wrong?
Uh, I don't know. Who cares? It's
Yeah,
just Saint
honestly.
Beast. Like this is. I'm sure this is a very memorable section of the story for a lot of people, but it's and it's built around the enemies, and the enemies are boring.
Yeah, pretty much.
Uh, so yeah,
Yeah,
Karama, we finally. What are you saying?
Genbu can like merge into stone and like move freely through stone or something.
And also like shoot pieces of himself, and that's fun.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting fellow, I'd say.
Yeah,
Just like in the
and
manga.
for and Karama, we finally see. This is the first time we see Karama's powers. He's got plant powers, and his main weapon's the Rose Whip.
Yeah, interesting powers, but I'll take it.
He's a planty boy. We'll see a lot more variety of them once we get into the Dark Tournament.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and yeah, so the fight with Genbu is a good introduction to his powers, but it's also a good like a start to the general idea behind most of Kurama's fights. His fights are typically more a cerebral affair where his smarts are his greatest weapons, and he typically has to outthink his opponents. Not that
Yep.
he's not strong, but that's just like his greatest weapon is his mind.
Yeah, I feel I didn't. He said something about like Kurama is like the strongest out of them, which okay. I mean that makes sense because uh Yusuke didn't even have to fight Kurama like back in the other arc where they fought.
I don't know if Kurama's the strongest here, but he's definitely.
He's stronger than Kie. I think that's established.
I don't. I don't think that he's necessarily stronger than Hiei. Maybe here, but definitely not later. I think it's more that Kurama is. This will be something we see more later, but Kurama. I think Hiei
He's better
There's
out
so
of
much.
getting out of tough situations.
I think it's more that he respects the fact that how ruthless Kurama is, because Kurama, we'll see it a lot more later, but Kurama is pretty damn ruthless.
Yeah, I can see that.
You'll see it in once again you'll see it more once we get to the Dark Tournament. But even
Yep.
beyond that, there's a lot of uh, fights where I can remember thinking, "God damn, Kurama." So yeah, that's Kurama versus Genbu. He beats him fairly quickly, and we move on to Kuwabara versus Byakko, which is actually until Yusuke versus Suizaku. This will become the longest fight in the manga so far. 3 whole chapters.
Yeah. It was actually pretty
Uh,
cool.
yeah, you liked it?
Yeah. I like how like everyone was telling Kuwabara to just switch out because they didn't expect him to be able to do anything. They're like, Kuwabara, you can't fight all those freaking tiger things with your sword. And he's like,
Tag out.
and then he starts running, and you're just like, okay. But then
Yeah, shish
he's
kebabs him.
smart. He's very smart,
Yeah, Kuwabara.
surprisingly.
This is probably one of Kuwabara's most like notable fights, and I think it's also the one where his smarts are most on display.
Hmm.
Not that he is dumb in a few fights, but there are times where is able to be
Like
smart.
he's a dumb guy, but he's got like a mind for like battles. Like
He can he can be tactical when he
yeah,
wants to be.
he's tactical.
Um, but yeah, this whole fight, similar to Kurama, this is setting a tone for most of Kuwabara's fights, which is that he'll be the underdog and will usually take a lot of damage early on after trying a straight on approach, and it'll often be a real brush with death, his fights. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, and yeah, I this is probably I think this is the most memorable of the 4 Saint Beasts fight because it's got a lot going on. It's got a few phases to it. The first with the little minions, the second with the whole energy feeding thing, and then the last phase with the lava room. And Kuwabara's got some cool strats throughout, stabbing through the monsters and locking them around the pillar. That's fun. Overstuffing Byaku with his energy. That's fun. The whole sword pole vaulting. Those are fun and all memorable.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good time. Anything else?
Not really, no.
Cool. Then we can move on to Seiryu. Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, that happened quickly.
All you anime watchers, that fight was way longer in the anime because it's okay. So this wasn't even like a full chapter of one fight. This whole thing is one chapter, but it starts with
Yeah, like half the
uh
chapter is him just killing Byakko.
well, it starts with the doors thing. There's like a bunch of doors, and all of them except one are traps. Kuwabara's spiritual sensitivity gets them on the right track,
Ah,
and
Kuwabara
before
MVP.
yeah, honestly, yeah. I'm glad they remembered that this was part of the reason he was coming and actually remembered to do something with his spiritual sensitivity.
Yeah.
Uh, they meet Seiryu, and after introductions, Byakko shows up, cementing him as actually like really fucking hard to kill.
Until
Like,
he's not.
I mean, he fucking he takes he takes that like whole exploding thing on the chin. He falls into like lava or acid or whatever that was, and then long enough to make it to here, and then Seiryu freezes him and destroys his whole body, and then he's still alive even as a head. It still takes him like half a minute to
Ugh.
die.
I hate the head thing so much.
Did it bring you back to Phantom Blood?
Yes. Just in general, I just hate the stupid talking as a decapitated head thing because you don't have like lungs to talk.
Letting
You
the
don't have
days go by,
diaphragm.
let the water hold me down. That's the Talking Heads. A little choke there for you. um, but yeah, and that brings us to Hiei versus Seiryu. Seiryu himself is boring, obviously, but his design is very solid. I'm not surprised he
Yeah.
got a I'm not surprised he got a full page spread, which are they've been extremely rare so far.
Yeah, definitely.
It's probably part of the build up, because building up him and then Hiei kills him in a single stroke. There we go, building up Hiei.
Yeah. And then Hiei proceeds to do nothing else for the rest of the arc.
Yeah, in the anime, he actually has to contend with Seiryu's ice powers for a little bit. But yeah, in the manga, it's like the fight starts, you turn the page, and it's a double page spread of Hiei immediately bisecting Seiryu, and that's it.
Yep. It's great.
Yeah. But even with how quick it is, both versions still accomplish the same goal of establishing essentially the new Hiei. Though it's very hard to understand, he has something of an honor code with how he like put his cowl over Yako's head, and he got so angry about this like friend being comrade being betrayed, and like it's showing that even after this short time on Yusuke's team, he's kind of grown to appreciate the camaraderie on the DL. Like, and from this and later plots, you can kind of tell Hiei's like he's a lonely guy who never really got that the loneliness ate at him until he got more friends besides just Karama, and now he's kind of getting used to it.
Yeah. So, we go right into the fight with Suzaku. Or actually, not even right into it. Because apparently he has, like, a bird thing
Oh
person.
yeah, Murugu or Murg.
What is. I don't even. What is the purpose of this? I don't remember.
Uh, just like has
He just has a bird friend servants
yeah.
thing.
She tells him about Keiko. She holds the whistle at one point, I think. And the anime extends it so that she tries to protect the whistle during the time when both Suzaku and Yusuke are down, and Yusuke has to like bluff her. But otherwise, that's pretty much it for her reason for existing. But yeah, well, there's also don't forget you forgot about the veggie people.
They fight veggie people and they make a totem pole. Cool.
Yeah, that the totem pole is memorable. I enjoyed that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
there's a
the fucking teacher dude is back again, being mean to Keiko.
yeah, Keiko and Botan are brought back into the arc. We see them on
That's
the
cool.
back in the human world. Suzaku learns that Keiko is like Yusuke's special buddy buddy. You shouldn't look at the hand sign I'm doing right now. I'm glad you can't see it.
Okay, I can't see it.
Good.
One thing in the translation, well, okay, in this translation it says stop associating with Urameshi. In the translation I read, he said break up with him, and I was like, okay, well, I guess that's the thing.
Yeah, it's I mean
It's
their
very,
relationship.
it's very unclear.
Well, their relationship is pretty unclear. Sometimes it seems like they're actually dating. Sometimes it seems like they're still being shy about it.
Yeah. Well, it's like clear that they both like each other and they know that they like each other. but it's I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Then
Uh,
again, they're also in middle school,
yeah. They're
so
not. They're
yeah.
still a little bit immature for the whole serious dating thing, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah, bringing in Keiko and Botan into this fight makes it helps this stand out. It makes it not just a regular ass punchathon.
Yeah, that
There's a
is
lot
great.
there's a lot of fun cross cutting between Keiko's and Yusuke's struggles, and like unlike the other time she's played the damsel role before, Keiko's really in top form, trying to protect herself with Botan. Her situation is extra creepy in the manga because the art on the zombified people is really creepy there. It's solid.
It is very solid.
You were much more digging on Keiko after this, if I recall.
Digging? What?
You liked her. You
Oh,
enjoyed
I
her.
liked her from the beginning. I've always liked Keiko, but just this arc, like at first, like I expected her to just be like just a damsel in distress, like doing nothing. Just
Un-
it's got to be saved by the hero. But
Unconscious or gun to the head.
yeah, but she was being pretty tough here, you know,
Yeah, scrappy when she
scrappy.
needs to be.
Yes, it was nice.
Yeah, and the actual fight with Yusuke,
Hmm.
that's pretty fun too.
Yeah.
Suzaku's not that interesting, but he has like 1% of a personality. I think I like that. A few times he brings up the whole Keiko situation and refers to it as like a horror movie. I think that's a fun little bit of characterization for what's otherwise a pretty boring villain.
Yeah.
And there's some fun, quick thinking on Yusuke's part too. The shoe thing comes to mind.
Yes, that was
Remember?
very that was very interesting.
Were you expecting that? Were you
No, I was
expecting
not.
shoe magic,
Well, cuz like
shoe powers?
when you put shoes on your hands, it's like really awkward. So like how are you going to fight like that?
You're not. You don't.
Yeah, it was weird.
Um, yeah, so they just kind of go back and forth. Suzaku's got lightning powers, and he's able to split into seven of him. And most of the fight is just Yusuke trying and, for the most part, failing to really get at him. To the point where eventually it's just kind of like lightning torture on Yusuke as he watches Keiko almost die. But, the turnaround comes when he has a little classic mid battle flashback to his training with Genkai. Uh,
Yeah, training's paying off.
in the in the manga and the anime subs, the ideas being presented are given in a more mystical way, like as you'd expect from like a martial arts teacher. The dub, which I'm more familiar with, I think gets across the idea in a more personal way. But I feel like both kind of are going for the same lesson. Yusuke is what Genkai is trying to pass on is that Yusuke's got to put his whole being, his whole effort into something because he's too used to out and giving up if something's too difficult. And like that whole idea, that'll be the main point of his development up through the end of the Dark Tournament. It's that is him learning that he has priorities and things to protect, so he's got to go all in on them so he can actually do what he wants to do and protect them. That's kind of like the general idea of his growth for the foreseeable future. And I think this is just an example of a mid battle flashback used well. I feel like if it's not used well, a lot of the time it can be like, oh, I forgot this technique that I was taught. Let me do it. Oh, it worked, or some to that sort of effect, but here it kind of explains where the sudden burst of power Yusuke is getting is coming from. He wasn't really putting his all into this fight because he's used to, holding back a bit, so he's still got something left if things aren't going well. But here he's finally putting 100% of his effort towards beating Suzaku.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't really get any of that when I read it.
I think it's probably more of a hindsight thing.
Yeah, my impression was that it was just like a like the general lesson of, well, not lesson, I guess, but like just concept of like what, like you can really like show off your true strength when you're like backed into a corner. That like only at the last minute, when there are no other options, is when you can like really push your limits and overcome your enemy.
I think that's kind of like what I was saying is like the lesson behind the lesson.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is like that's kind of what we're supposed to be taking in the moment.
That's kind of, I'm pretty sure like that was even like that was stated.
The whole thing with like that was
the
whole thing with the spot. That's what we're meant to be taking from it.
That's like on the surface, that's what Genkai was talking about, but like perhaps if you think about it more, then what you were talking about.
I'm thinking about it in like broad strokes, whole series, like
definitely
looking back kind of thing.
I could definitely see what you mean though.
It might become like more clear once we get into like later stuff. But that's kind of like how.
Oh yeah, can we talk about his freaking Suzaku can just like make like 7 clones of himself or something, and they're all like equally as strong.
Yeah.
As him at full power.
And then, not only that, if he gets too hurt, as long as there's still one of them left, he can resorb them to heal himself, and then make 7 more copies. So he's pretty much got like infinite regen if he can keep doing that.
Yeah. That was kind of insane.
Probably a good thing he didn't come back.
Yeah. All right. So
Yusuke defeats him. Defeats him with his shotgun.
The day is saved.
Except Yusuke gave his life force to do it. Oh no.
Oh yeah, and then we got our MVP coming back in, Kuwabara. Saving his life.
Give him a little life energy transplant. Can I ask you your opinion on that trope in general? Just like, oh, I've got no more anime energy left. I'll have to use my life force to do this.
I like it as a concept, until nobody ever suffers the consequences.
Yeah, that's
like here.
That's the thing. Yeah, I can think of a lot of examples in other series where it's like I performed that big attack or I did that thing. But I had to shave off some years from my lifespan. Like, okay, but we're not going to see you die of old age. So what's the point?
I mean, I really like the what's it called? The spirit of it. Like I'm sacrificing so much to win in this moment. I really like that. It's just lessened when you don't see the consequences of it.
Yeah, if it's done well, we can see consequences or see consequences on the horizon. One Piece has done both versions. Hunter x Hunter, I feel like had been building up to something like that. But here it's just like, oh, he gave his life energy. Okay, Kuwabara gave him some of his life energy, and that's kind of it. This is never going to come up again.
Well, it's not even like the first time really, because back in the when Yusuke like gave up half of his life to help Kurama save Kurama's mother.
Right.
Did that like, okay, so he gave up half of his life. What does that mean?
Yeah, does
Like
he
what
have
are
half as much long to live?
does he
Does he
just
just
have half as much life force now? Like
did
what's
he
the deal?
did he regain it? And was he
Yeah.
just tired for a little bit?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I don't understand what are the like are there consequences? I have so many
Yeah,
questions.
it doesn't really seem like it now.
Yeah.
I can I can think of one example late in the Dark Tournament where I feel like it might have been done well in that a character was going to expend all their life energy for it, but because of stuff that had happened before, they have more than they expected and are able to
Yeah.
squeeze by with a living because they thought they were giving up at all, but because of things that had happened earlier, they
Yeah.
had more than expected.
I like the like what we were talking about earlier with like at the in the early arc where Yusuke's house got set on fire and he gave up his chance he seemingly gave up his chance of reviving in order to save Keiko. That was cool.
Yeah,
Cuz like
that was
from his perspective like there was no going back.
yeah. That's a similar example of and a version that kind of done right.
Yeah. Even though it ended up, not being much of a problem, I think it's still fine because like
Hmm.
they really like it's
Made a
part
thing
of
out
the
of it.
choice.
Yeah, it's the choice that matters,
Yeah.
and
All right. Yeah, I think
I
that's
think
it.
that covers the Saint Beasts arc, and now we can move on to the Rescue Yukina arc,
Yeah, my
with
favorite arc.
which nothing bad happens in it. Nothing dated, nothing bad
Yeah, it's
happens.
fine. It's all
It's
good.
fine. It's fine. You're fine. So, oh wait, no. Before that, there's a
Yeah,
little
what the
one-off
fuck is
chapter.
this? Oh yeah.
Yeah, the anime skips this. It's just this little one-off chapter.
Yeah, Yusuke and
Battle
Kuwabara. What?
Battle at Hell Housing Development, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's about these eh, demon half breed thing guys
They're like
who's
demi demons or something.
something like that, and their human form apparently looks like Yusuke and Kuwabara, so they've been impersonating them.
Yeah, and like Yusuke and Kuwabara have now like built up a name for themselves as like these like powerful people like in like the
Right.
occult community.
Yeah.
Because they defeated Kurama and Hiei, and then they defeated the four
Rando,
Saint Beasts and stuff.
Rando and Suzaku. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
they've
it's
done
like
all this like they've defeated a lot of like legendary like well known people.
yeah. So
So
they
now
got like
they're infamous.
targets on their backs. So
Yeah,
these little bottom
I
feeding
like
half
that.
demons. Yeah. It's this. I get why it was cut, but it's and because it's pretty kind of negligible, but it's still a fun chapter. I
It's
I like all the jokes about Yusuke, how fucking injured Yusuke and Kuwabara are after
yeah.
their fight.
Well, so they do
Those make me
get
laugh.
like so there's I guess this chapter is the consequences of them almost dying, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
probably
but
true.
that's that I mean, I don't know.
It's just jokes. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that saves it.
Nah. There's a fun when Karama arrives. They're like, "Who the hell are you?" And because he's holding a rose, he's like, "Just call me Tuxedo Mask." That's a fun little reference. And the whole little platoon of half breed demons are taken out off panel by Hiei.
Yeah,
That's that's kind of funny.
it's great. Great.
And it ends with Hiei giving Yusuke the videotape from the Yukina arc here. He doesn't in the anime. He just gives it to him on the way to school out of the blue. But yeah, that's how he gets it to him in the manga.
Yeah.
So now we can move on to the Rescue Yukina arc.
My
And
favorite arc.
and it's I want to mention something that I dislike. That's kind of connected to the end of the Saint Beasts arc. Uh, at the end of the Saint Beasts arc, we have the scene where Yusuke wakes up back in the human world. He sees Keiko's alive, and she's pissed at him because like she had apparently been told by Votan about everything. And Yusuke and her have this conversation, and she's just like, I don't want you to keep these kinds of things with me anymore. If you're able to, I want to be the first to know if you're going to be doing anything crazy. And it's I I
Yeah.
appreciated that she was being let in on everything, that she kind of knew, and she could be prepared in the future. She can make peace with it. And then the author just kind of walks back on that immediately.
Yeah.
At the
I
start of the Yukina arc, apparently it's revealed that Botan apparently gave her a cover story, but very uselessly because like 5 or 6 chapters from now, the Dark Tournament's going to be starting,
yeah.
and Keiko learns the whole story then and there.
I like I'm surprised that like she didn't learn about this stuff like way earlier because like sh- she already experienced like plenty of like supernatural stuff like in the start
Yeah,
of the series where like
Yusuke came
Yusuke
back to
literally
life.
came back to life. He visited her in a dream and then in Kuwabara's body and like and she escaped from miraculously escaped from a house on fire
Yeah,
with Yusuke and just and,
very odd.
they just went about their lives like, oh yeah, I came back to life, but you don't have to ask any questions about that. Nothing.
Yeah, it is
Okay.
odd, but it's even odder. I just want to say how weird it is that Togashi doubled back on this because this is the only scene where the fact that she doesn't actually know is a thing.
Yes.
If you take out this scene, then it's like the previous scene of her saying like "keep me informed" takes on a whole new
Yes.
meaning.
Because then it pays off in the dark tournament where she's like
Yeah, she
just
actually
there.
knows.
Yeah.
Or two, yeah, like it's weird. Yeah, yeah. So moving on from that, we are starting out the real Rescue Yukina arc. We see the videotape and we learn Yusuke's next case, which Kuwabara is like, I'm not coming along for, but then he says, yes, I'm coming along for, is to rescue an ice apparition named Yukina, whose her clan has the ability to make these very pretty jewels when they cry, and she's apparently in the hands of a uh, billionaire crime lord called Ganzu Tarukane. It
Yeah.
looks like a testicle.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
I like it.
Tarukane is our he's our introduction to the Black Club, or the Black Book Club as the Viz calls it. And the general idea that'll be building up for some time, that humans are the true monsters, which will that'll actually like come into focus and come into head come the Chapter Black arc, but it's going to be building starting from here and throughout the Dark Tournament. And for the role of kind of getting us thinking on that idea, he fits well because he's a fucking asshole and his gross design is
Yes.
fun to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen plenty of ugly bastards in our time in this series.
but he is the ugliest and bastardiest.
Yes.
Yeah, and oh yeah, and Kuwabara is in love with Yukina.
Yeah, he just like sees her on video or whatever, and then he just like runs out to go save her and like doesn't finish the video. And
Sword,
that comes
get
up later.
longer.
True.
Yeah, and yeah, because he's so gung ho about it, he misses the end of the videotape that says he and Yukina are siblings.
Yeah, which okay, I mean
That's a thing.
that's the thing. Okay.
I'd say it's probably there for humanizing Hiei, and I think it works, but mainly in the anime. In the manga, their relationship, at least as far as this arc goes, isn't really kind of touched on,
Yeah.
especially
Well,
in
I
the
mean,
in the anime adds a few scenes and extends some scenes to show like how much he's thinking about her and cares for her.
okay. That sounds pretty cool.
The anime also adds Botan. She's at she's like she goes with Yusuke and Kuwabara to
Yeah,
Rikine's
I saw a
place.
screenshot of her in this arc and I was like, "Okay, interesting."
Yeah, she's around, but not in the manga. Odd change, but who doesn't love more Botan?
She should be in every arc.
Yeah. And
Um,
this is
yeah,
also where we are introduced to the Toguro brothers.
the Taguro brothers.
It's a very
Yeah,
understated introduction, especially compared to Suzaku or Rando.
I
It
I
just
yeah, go ahead.
they really just see it's effective, I think, because it really seems like they'll just be around for this short stretch
Mhm.
of chapters and that's it. But like just enough is left throughout for things to like start making sense in the last chapter we'll be covering, and like all that's revealed.
Yeah,
Uh,
I gotta say, like in this section, like I'm not like interested in the Tagoro brothers whatsoever. They didn't really leave an impression on me.
I
Although,
think that's kind of
yeah,
part of it.
yeah, S-
You'll I
yeah.
got no good.
I don't have anything.
I was just gonna say I think I'll grow to like them a bit more once the tournament's underway and you get more
Yeah, probably.
sort
That's
of
probably the case.
backstory.
I just feel like in this arc specifically,
Yeah,
it didn't
they're
really
just kind of
like
muscle.
interest me
They're just
whatsoever.
kind of muscle. We're not getting any deeper characterization yet. They're just sort of there. This whole arc is just kind of set up.
Yeah, pretty much this whole arc for me was just really boring and just like a slog, honestly.
It is kind of boring, yeah.
Because like
Only
they just like okay, so we just went through the Saint Beast arc where there were four Saint Beasts who were like they were kind of like established as like these guys who needed to be defeated.
right.
And we went through each fight one by one, at least one chapter per fight. A lot of time devoted to them. Everybody got their fight. And now here in this arc, they're just fucking plowing through fucking armies of people and like and then
Yeah,
the couple fights that they do have are like a couple pages and it's
yeah.
just yeah.
It's all just like it's all just curb stomps up until the Taguro brothers, and then even that's not all that
It's not even
interesting.
interesting.
It's very quick. The only real notable thing for it for me in general is that uh, the brothers do the thing of like the elder Taguro brother turns into like a sword, a shield and stuff, and they like have a kind of a tag team going. And this is the only time they ever do it.
That was stupid as fuck.
I love the elder Taguro's body horror powers. They're
I
always a treat.
I oh that was awful.
They look more visually interesting once he's on his own and doing stuff.
Maybe
He's a
perhaps.
lot he's a lot smaller in the manga. In
Yeah,
the
he's very
anime
small.
he looks like he's maybe like 3.5 feet tall. Like he looks like he's proportioned and heighted like somebody you could see existing, kind of. But here he's like the size of his brother's head. He much more lives up to his in-universe nickname as Taguro's shoulder monkey.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah, his real Taguro. Whenever I just say Toguro, I mean the younger one, the Terminator one.
Yes.
His real introduction would be him killing the monster that Tarukane shows him and showing off his muscle powers. Um, they're really simple and very shonen, but like I think they works. I think they work as a power for him once he's in the limelight past this arc. I also like how jokingly humble he is. He says after he kills the monster that he probably could have done it with 20% his powers, but he did 30 because he's quote unquote timid at heart. Or how the first thing he says to Yusuke and Kuwabara is like, "Go easy on us, we're quite fragile." I think more so than boasting or just being stoically quiet, it really kind of sells his true power.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sakio also gets a lot of build up here, and it's a nice. He's a nice distraction from all the secret setup for the Tiguros, having us focus in on him, kind of getting the feeling that he'll become a major player once he cleans out Tarukane. So, yeah, as we were saying, Yusuke and Kobar just kind of go through and dismantle all of the demons under Tarukane and the Tiguros come and break into the compound. And then they set up to fight the Ogre Triad or the Demon Triad. And there's nothing interesting about any of them.
Yes.
Okay, there's nothing interesting about two of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't even remember the fucking names of the other two.
I
The
don't
only
know.
the only memorable one is Miyuki, and not for the right reasons.
Not at all. Not at all.
Do you wanna go for this? Do you wanna take this on?
So, Miyoki is like the only female villain up until this point. Um,
There's
and
maybe like 5 female fighters in the whole series until maybe the final tournament, which adds like maybe 2 or 3 more.
yeah. So like that's cool and all. Like she shows up and she's like, Kuwabara's like, I don't want to hurt a girl, and she's like, but I'm a girl fighter, respect me, and that's
Yeah,
great. That's great.
yeah.
No problems.
You could have stopped here if this was just the whole kind of
Yeah.
like if that was the whole message of the fight, as in like you shouldn't underestimate women because they can be just as strong and deadly as men.
Yes.
That that would have been fine.
I
You
love
could
that.
stop here, Togashi.
It's the 90s. That is you're
That,
doing a good job.
that's woke for this time.
Compared to everything else, you were doing a fantastic job there, buddy.
Remember what happened to Lisa Lisa. This is woke for the time.
Yes. Um yeah, so she's trans, which okay, that's another step. That's fine, but like then Yusuke is like being all weird about it. He's like if you're going to try to be a woman, you should be more serious about it or something.
Yeah.
And that was just weird.
It's trying to apply shonen logic to serious issues of society, which doesn't work here. Yeah,
It does not work
shonen.
here.
Yeah, shonen is all about like challenging each other's convictions, and that's what Yusuke is trying to do here. But it's not working with this idea.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's like implying, well, it's like kind of saying like trans people are valid, but only if they like work hard at it or something, or like if they like go through the effort to like transition or something.
Something like
It's
that.
yeah,
It's
it's just
there's
weird.
a lot of people have said a lot of stuff about this and how Togashi has done other trans characters. Um, But yeah, our general thoughts have been like, this is not working, and but like
Yeah. Like it's
Toga,
nice. Yeah.
It's neat that Togashi is trying,
Yeah, that's
but
good.
he didn't have the writing chops to pull it off here.
Yeah.
But in the end, he kept trying.
And
There's
in
a
the end,
lot.
yeah.
Yeah, there's trans rep in his short series between Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter level E, and in Hunter x Hunter, gender and sexuality is a lot more pliable, and we end up getting the character of Aluka, which is like everybody loves Aluka.
Hmm.
Who doesn't love Aluka?
Well, I don't know who Alka is, so I don't love
You're
Alka.
you're gonna. I'm gonna
Okay.
make you.
All right. Well,
So
but yeah, he
yeah,
like he kind of like wasted like such a good opportunity to like I guess uh fight against sexuality, not sexual, sexism, like with Miyuki, and then like he turned into like a trans thing and just completely missed the mark and just wasted a
yeah,
good opportunity.
yeah, and it takes up so much time. You could have made some act like spent more time making these fights actually fun, but it's just kind of like Togashi setting up a soapbox and trying to parrot what he's probably heard offhand about like trans stuff and missing the mark.
Yeah. I'm
Uh,
just I'm not really sure like if he like really thought about it so much, like if he was like, yes, I'm going to finally, I've always wanted to introduce a trans character and this is now my opportunity, or if like it was just something that he had like heard about and he just wanted to, he was just like, oh, I have to come up with a couple characters, here's an idea.
I I could see either because the fact that he keeps trying when like after this he could have just not tried again and that would have been like
Yeah. Well, it could have just been
understandable.
like he realized that he messed up and he wanted to correct it later, like after the fact.
Yeah,
But
that's also a possibility that this trying this and failing kind of opened his eyes and made him keep going at it.
yeah, who knows though?
But
I'm not.
very similar to his wife Naoko Takeuchi, the writer of Sailor Moon. He does a lot of like playing around with gender expression and stuff
Yeah,
in his manga.
it's cool.
Yeah.
Um.
So
So
so that's the triad. The other two members are completely
I don't know.
pointless and boring.
Did they even fight them on screen at all? I don't even remember.
I I the guy with the cloak, I remember they had like a maybe 2-page fight with him, and the strat to win I remember is actually kind of fun, where like they just get him into a hallway where he can only come from one direction, and as soon as Kuwabara feels his presence, Yusuke does a shotgun to cover the entire range. That's kind of a fun way of doing it, but it's
I
such a
do
quick
not
fight that's
remember
not as
that
memorable.
whatsoever. Is that like an anime thing, or is
No, it
it
was still
just that
there.
unmemorable?
It was just that fast and unmemorable.
Wow.
And the last one, who I'm now remembering, is named Goku Monkey. He's beaten on a cover page to the point where you turn the page and one of the first panels is him lying there, and he's like, "I didn't even get to introduce myself." And yeah, that's the triad. And so we move into the fight of Yusuke and Kuwabara against the Taguro brothers. And yeah, it's kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I just not interesting whatsoever.
I like the body horror. That's about it.
They end up winning, I guess. And Hiei shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out this was like a mission for Hiei, I guess, originally, and he
I
just passed it off to Yusuke because he didn't want to do it, but then he showed up anyways.
I don't know if it's different in the manga or they just didn't explain it well enough. But the anime explained it more as like this was a mission for Yusuke. They didn't want Hiei to find out, but he found out anyway, and was just kind of going for it at the same time as Yusuke and Kuwabara.
Oh, okay.
Kurama's also around too, but he doesn't do anything in the anime.
Interesting.
And they also extend the scene here in the manga. He's not gonna kill Tarukane from the start. He just like on his own. He says like you're not worth it. In the anime, he's going to, but there's an emotional scene where Yukina stops him and he's like, "Don't you want me to kill him? Don't you want to get revenge on this guy?" And she's just like, "I'm so fucking traumatized. Just no more, please. Even this guy, I don't care. Just no more death. Fuck's sake." Yeah, it's just like, all right, for you.
And then she's just like, "Who are you again?"
Yeah, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm their friend."
Yeah.
Yep.
So apparently she doesn't know who he is, and
Really,
he doesn't. Yeah.
goes back to their hometown of Ice Place.
Yeah. They're like half siblings.
That's actually gets retconned.
Really.
Yeah, that the fact that they're half siblings, and like other stuff is being retconned later. They have the same mother. They're twins.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's that in the final arc. That's retconned.
But okay.
Yeah.
I was under the impression they were like different kinds of demons and stuff.
Now they go into what the deal is more in the last arc. He
All
is
right.
like he is like some kind of like cast out cursed child or something. I forget. They're all
Okay.
very angsty and brooding and deep and whatever.
Yeah.
And so we
Okay
get
then.
to the final chapter of this section. Not the final chapter we're covering. We still got two shots, but the last chapter is it reveals Taguro's they faked their loss, and they were in on this with Sakyo. They were out to swindle Tarukane, and what Taguro wants as payment is for Yusuke and Kuwabara to be invited as special guests to the upcoming Dark Tournament.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah, and he goes to give Yusuke and Kuwabara the invitation, telling them it's pretty much a non-negotiable thing. They gotta go or they're gonna die. I think it was smart to give the invitation to the tournament its own chapter because for how quickly paced this manga is, it needs a little bit of build up, and for how fast things have been going, this is a good amount of build up. I think a full chapter of just like talking about the tournament and like giving the message like you gotta come.
Yeah.
It's also different in the anime. It's in the manga, for those of you who are anime only, he shows up at Yusuke's school, already kind of scary, and then he takes him to the little construction area and says, "I can tear this whole place apart if I wanted to." In the anime, Yusuke and Keiko are out on a date question mark,
Yeah.
and that's when Taguro shows up, and he takes Yusuke to the abandoned place, and then he does tear apart the construction site with his bare hands, which I think is way more like scary. Really sells things. And that episode also adds a little training montage of the 2 months until the Dark Tournaments,
I like
showing.
how it's like he just shows up at Genkai's place and it's like train me, and it's like this cool like movie moment with like a time skip and everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's fun. And the anime has it interspersed with like a little montage of the two of them training, and Kuwabara asking Kurama and Hiei to help him train. It's fun. And so yeah, we are leaving off there because the next chapter will start the Dark Tournament, but we're also going to be covering the one shot detailing how Kurama and Hiei met, set about a year before the manga itself, called Two Shots.
Yeah.
What did you think of it? My thoughts on it are It exists.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's not exactly something that I was like looking forward to, like something that I wanted to see. Like
Right.
I didn't really care too much about how Hiei and Kurama met, but I mean, I liked kind of seeing a bit more of like Kurama's history and
Yes.
how he like became more uh what am I trying to I don't even know.
Serious?
More serious,
He's
perhaps?
straight, did you know?
He is straight. Yeah, that is weird.
He apparently had a budding romance with this girl, and then it didn't work out because he got caught up in demon stuff, and he's like, I have to keep my distance from normal people. I'm sorry, whatever your fucking name is. We can't
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I feel like this this chapter was kind of like meant to give an insight to both Kurama and Hiei, but it didn't. Hiei was just kind of there.
Yeah. I think the point was just to like capitalize on their popularity.
Yeah, probably. It's weird that this got like an OVA like so recently. Like, did people really want to see this that much?
I guess so, yeah.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have any like strong feelings about it though. It's
Me
like
neither.
whatever.
It's you're not missing much if you haven't seen it or read it. Maybe
Yeah.
Kurama's younger appearance and like his different way of fighting are neat. He uses two like flower swords or whatever. That's kind of neat, but like overall, it's kind of skippable, I guess. Maybe if you're big fans
Yeah.
of Kurama and or Hiei.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all of the Yu Yu Hakusho we were gonna cover. And next time around, we'll be covering Dark Tournament chapters
52 to 113.
52 to 113, and that'll be episodes 26 or the end of 26, I guess, through 66.
Okay, that's
It'll
wait.
be a real time.
Oh, 26 to 60. Yeah, that's a lot of fucking episodes. Holy shit.
40 episodes, yeah.
Wow. In the manga it's like
60
60?
chapters.
Yeah, 60 chapters.
Yeah.
That's a long ass arc compared to like what we just read was like a whole bunch of like smaller arcs put
Yeah.
together. But I'm is the Dark Tournament like just like one big tournament arc, or is it kind of like split up into like
It's
sections
like
almost?
it's kind of split into it's the same tournament the whole way through, but it's kind of split up into different sections based on the rounds. Like we can kind of go
Hmm.
by it like, okay, we'll start with the fight against Team Rakuya Kai, and then we'll go on to the
All right.
Dr. Jigaki fight, Team Masho. Yeah. It's kind of split up like that.
All right. So, okay. Interesting. I'm interested to see how that goes considering it's going to be such a long arc.
I'm looking forward to it because it's my favorite arc of the series. I
Hopefully
wouldn't
it
say it's
should go faster because it's like fights.
right. Oh, there's a lot of character stuff going on. I think
Hmm.
you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Hope I am. That will be cool.
All right,
Yeah, so I guess we'll see you guys next time.
take us out.